is a thing for bad on. Yeah, me this done cook. I'm coming on my bed. You don't have a problem with that? Hey, my word. Good night again, people. It's me again, Ja. As I fall on my knees today. Alright, see this one? Uno that. Uno can see me nice and bright, right? And this here my Bible. This is my Bible. But I have to always read for straighten up the people them who want to come after me. Let me tell them, say, the things them what me finding in the Bible that are so questionable. Them say, Lord Trev, it is God's word. Excuse us on my face now, please. Move out of my face. And don't let me rude to you. Anyway, anyway, beautiful people. Welcome back. Me done cook, me done eat. Yeah, my belly full. But now me need to continue reading the book here. I am finished reading it, but my bad. I started reading this book for y'all the other day. And you know, when I start reading the book, I can't stop. So I ended up finishing it, but me never get to finish it for y'all. For those of you who were reading with me. I wish part me did reach when me did stop reading Fiona. Was it at, I think this is it, chapter 27. Yeah, I think we were at chapter 27. Lovely people. So those of you who were here when we started reading this book, you would have remembered the storyline. But for those of you who were not here, I'm not gonna go over the storyline and we catch on. You will catch on. If you stay here long enough, you will catch on to what we've been. Watch out. Then I went this off phone here. I went this off. I don't see her. I have the phone at charge while I'm there yesterday. Then I went the phone. How the phone reach off 15%. Did you ever hear this? I could have this Father God. Hold on the people. Let me go ice this up here, so. Yeah, you can have all of them little contraptions here. Hold on there. Oh no, hold on there. Let me put this over there, so. Okay. So you can me say, what did I see her? I never see the phone not have no charge. Alright, so you can't see me, you can't see me. Alright. So while it did, I said I charge. I only don't look on my bed, no mind, no business. You must just listen to the reading. Me say them nosy, me say them fast, them nosy. Me Jesus, them say me never want them to look on my bed, me wouldn't did have a live in my bed. Lord of mercy. But anyway, it is me again. Alright, so we are going to read a book here. For those of you who like reading, not everybody here like reading. Your name. Get over this. What do you say upon my phone? I talk about get over it. Hold on there, you get over it. Get over it right off of my phone. Can I get over it right there, so? Alright, there we go. All right, beautiful people, there we go. So we are going to continue with the reading of this book, Lethal Seduction. And those of you who were with us last week while we were reading this book, you all will remember the storyline, but we're going to... Shit, I forgot was to take care of that today. That's all right, it's too late now anyway, so... Whatever wasn't done just wasn't done. End of story. But we're going to continue reading this book. Chapter 27. Miami was in the midst of a heat wave, even though it was way past summer. The airport was crowded and noisy, filled with people of all nationalities rushing in different directions. Madison looked around to see if she could spot a chauffeur holding up a card with her name on it. Why did you book a limo? Kim asked as they made their way through the crowd. The less anyone knows, the better. I've always found that when arriving in a town I'm not familiar with, a driver is the way to go. Otherwise, we could end up in the wrong place at the wrong time. Like a bonfire of the vanities. I can look after myself, Kim said, staunchly confident. You might be able to, Madison countered, but I'm not so sure about me. Lately, I've been thinking of buying a handgun. Lately, she's been thinking of buying a handgun. Don't go that route unless you know what you are doing, Kim warned. I know what I'm doing. Well, also consider taking karate lessons. A woman must always be prepared to defend herself. Where are the women in here? Want to take karate lessons? Want to have a look at pew pew with so you can defend herself? Eh? I mean, I know. Let me continue reading. I defend myself all right, Madison said with a short, humorous laugh. I'd go right for the balls. Very effective if executed in the right way, Kim said. I'll give you a few pointers. I'm an expert. No. What you are is an amazing woman. I'm glad to know you. Thanks, Kim said awkwardly, unused to compliments. Oh, of course, Madison added. I'm not happy about the things you have found out, but then again, I guess I should be. 'Cause there I was, blithely going along, thinking that everything was great, and it wasn't. Not at all. So, yeah, maybe God did send you to teach me what's important. You must be nervous, Kim said. Well, I don't get nervous, Madison answered, still glancing around to see if she could spot their driver. As a matter of fact, I'm calmer today than I've ever been. The idea of meeting my mother's twin sister is scary, yet at the same time, a little exciting. You might not get to meet her, Kim pointed out. We could turn up at her front door only to have it slammed in our faces. Good God, I hope not. You have to be prepared, Kim said. She was the voice of reason. The woman is obviously afraid of Michael. She ran when her sister was murdered, even changed her name. What is her name now? Madison said, realizing it was the one question she hadn't asked. Catherine Leone, Kim said. That's all the information I have. Her name and her address. Then let's go find her, Madison said, finally spotting a uniformed chauffeur holding aloft a big white card with her name on it. She'll talk to me. I'm sure of it. Jamie was taking an early morning shower when Peter slid into the glass enclosure, surprising her. Peter, she objected, I'm all slippery. Slippery when wet, huh? He said lasciviously. Bruh, what do you mean if I'm not sleeping yet? I don't sleep. You know see me sleep today? Early. Early's you like that. Slippery when wet. Yeah, I'm not sleep. I slept today. Remember say this morning me wake up and me go live for what was that, 3 hours? I'ma come off alive and I said I was gonna come back. And me go sleep. Me sleep the whole day, dream the whole day, and never wake up back until after maybe 3:30, 4 o'clock or something. Russ, what's up, my friend? What? Well, I said the tongue you put me in enough trouble already, Eh, it now put me in no more. I don't hear this, people. You know what I'm saying? My tongue put me in a trouble. No, man, not put me in a trouble. What's up? Or everything with you. Me see you not get enough snow down in a year town there. Me see you not get one heap of snow. Him know me know you're probably there road. You stay safe out there because the weather be bad. And the snow and ice be on the street. There lots of people having accidents left and right. Be safe out there, people. Those of you who are out there on the government streets. So be careful. Yeah, that one you talk nicely, right? It a talk about slippery when wet. But me, like how me so young, me don't know what I'm talk about in a Ras. I don't know what them talking about, okay? But me just a read. That's all me I do is read. Okay? Oh, buffalo is worse. Yeah, buffalo always get a whole heap of snow. Yeah, always get a whole heap of snow. Good Lord. Yeah, but don't stay safe out upon the streets, yeah, man, because it's not nice. But anyway, I'm anxious to see what them people are talking about, slippery when wet. He says, slippery when wet, huh? He said, lasciviously. Exactly the way I like you. And I'm not in the mood, she said, as his hands began to caress her. Last night you had a headache. Now this morning you are not in the mood? He said, fingering her nipples in a way he knew drove her a little bit crazy. What's going on? Am I supposed to always be ready and available? She said, trying not to let his practiced touch affect her. How do you do that? But anyway, let me continue reading. You are my wife, aren't you? He said, squeezing an already erect nipple between his thumb and forefinger. Yes, she said, shivering as his hands slipped their way down her body. Glad we got that straight, he said, moving behind her so she could feel his hardness pressing into the small of her back. That book here really out of order, I know. That book here really out of order. The book here was good when we read it by myself. But when I read a book here out loud, and with uno listening, that book here not right. It not behave itself. You want me to continue reading it? Peter, she murmured, suddenly flooded with desire. What is it, my sweetheart? He asked, nibbling at her ear. We're happy, aren't we? Very happy, he said, gently stroking the inside of her thighs. You love me, don't you? She said, turning around so that she could face him. He placed his hands at the back of her neck, then hoisted her legs around his waist. He entered her with a sudden ferocity she was not expecting. You know I love you, he grunted. Can't get enough. Me can't read them something out loud. Me can't read them something out loud at all. Love is more than sex, she gasped, throwing back her head. Stop talking, he commanded. You'd never be unfaithful to me, would you? She murmured. Are you nuts? He said loudly. How could you think something like that? And as he rocked her back and forth, the memory of the condom in his wallet faded into oblivion. He might cheat, you know? You know, say some man stay though. And you know, say some man stay. Then we are cheat by you, you know? And then we come home. Then we come home and give you something to remember. You totally forget to them a cheat by you. Allow me I tell. I don't see the thing allow me I tell. I choke me I tell. I saw the man I stay. So them stay, man. Don't make you suddenly forget, say, you did say when them come home, you and them are going to argue over the cheating. And when them come home and them lay it down upon you, you remember nothing. till next day when you're hungry again. But anyway, let me continue. This can't be right, Madison said, as their car pulled up to the front of a restaurant club along the gorgeous strip of ice cream colored buildings in South Beach. We're at the address you gave me, ma'am, their driver said. Madison looked at Kim. It's a restaurant, she said. I can see that, Kim replied. Take a look at the sign. It says Leon's. You didn't know this? Madison asked. I guess I'm slipping into old age, Kim said dryly as they both got out of the car. Driver, please wait, Madison said. I'm not sure how long we'd be. The man nodded. At least if she doesn't want to meet you, we'll get a decent cup of Cuban coffee, Kim remarked as they approached the open terrace, where people were sitting around tables, sipping drinks, and enjoying the loud salsa music coming from inside. It was 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Here's the way we should play it, Kim said decisively. We are customers. We'll sit down, order something, and check out what's going on. Maybe we'll see her before she sees us. This is making me nervous, Madison said, biting her lower lip. I thought you didn't get nervous. Well, I wasn't expecting to. I thought we were on our way to her house. She probably lives here, Kim said, as they made their way to the vacant table. A snake-hipped young waiter, clad in tight black leather pants and a white t-shirt, swayed over to them bearing menus. You ladies here for tea? He asked. Or how about something stronger? I can recommend the house margarita. I'll have one, Madison said, totally ready for a drink. Make mine water, Kim said. Aha, the waiter said, staring straight at Madison. The beautiful lady likes to live dangerously, huh? Madison. He was all of 19 years old, but full of confidence. I am one, he announced. Anything you need, call for me. This is an interesting place, Madison said. I love the Art Deco theme. Who owns it? Another beautiful lady, one said, flashing his exceptionally white teeth, marred by one gold filling in the front. She's older, but women are like wine, you know. The older they get, the sweeter and more precious they are. I saw it gonna. I saw it grass. Come on, Madison said, laughing. You are not going to tell us those lines actually work. Oh, yes, they do, he said with a wide grin, especially in the tourist season. Are you ladies tourists? Kim was unamused by his banter. No, we are not, she snapped. We are here on business. Sorry to insult you, serious lady, one said. I will fetch your drinks. What's with the serious lady crap? Kim said as he walked off. I could kick his skinny little tight ass. She even getting violent. What's wrong with her? Don't get pissed, Madison said. He might be the one to tell us about Catherine. Or her husband. No, Madison said. He told us this place is owned by a woman. So since it's called Leon's, that must be Catherine, right? It's a hell of a place to hide if her plan was to get away from Michael. What makes her think he'd never come to Miami, especially with South Beach being as popular as it is? Who knows, Madison said, shrugging. I like it here. There's something free and sexy and kind of welcoming. I'm starting to feel a lot better. No, you're not, Kim said. You are starting to imagine that your aunt is going to appear, open up her arms, and say, Madison, I've waited for you all these years. Come live here with me, and I will be your real family. Your imagination is shifting into overdrive. Get real, Madison said tartly. Do you honestly think I'm that stupid? Well, you're not stupid at all. You are merely experiencing a fact of nature. We all yearn for family, people who care about us no matter what we do. Now that you've found out about Michael, and that your mother is dead, you feel you have no one, so you are reaching out. And right now, Catherine is the only one you feel you can reach out to. All I want is to meet her. That's all I want, so she can tell me something about my heritage. I know nothing about my mother. I don't even have a clue where she was born. Now's your chance to find out, Kim said. I think this might be Catherine heading our way. Madison glanced up and caught her breath. Coming towards them was a woman, the absolute image of Beth in the photo. The same black curly hair, delicate, high cheekboned face, full lips, and seductive eyes. She was slim, wearing a scarlet dress and very high heels. She was in her early 40s. Quickly, Madison figured it out. She was 29 or so. So if Beth had given birth to her when she was 17, that would make her twin sister about 46. The woman walked straight past them to the next table, where she stopped to greet a fat man in a white suit and a Panama hat. They kissed each other on both cheeks and began chatting. I'm so happy to see you, the woman enthused. I have missed your smiling face. Madison was started to hear that she had a slight accent. She's Cuban, Kim said in a low voice. How do you know? The accent. Oh my God, Madison exclaimed. Does that mean I'm half Cuban? That I'm not American? Your mother probably came from Cuba before you were born. You're American, all right. But doesn't mean I have Cuban heritage, she said excitedly. This is something I really can't tell you. That's probably a lot you know about yourself, Kim. How is your dancing? Oh my God, it's pretty darn good. How you know? Why? Ah, not only is she an excellent detective, she has a good sense of humor. Although I have to admit that she knows it, that she keeps it well hidden. Kim flashed a smile. You are returning to your normal self, and I like that. You don't know me. You don't know me, and you don't know my normal self. Well, I can only imagine. Tough with a soft heart, intelligent, loyal friend, hates stupidity and dumb people. Am I on the right track? I hope so. I sound nice, don't I? They both laughed. I'm delighted to see that you ladies are having a good time, one said as he returned with their drinks. Actually, Madison said, we are kind of tourists in a way, but not really. You see, I work for a travel magazine, and they have sent me and my colleague to check out South Beach. You know, route out the hottest restaurants, clubs, that kind of thing. I was wondering if you could help us. I'm your man, one boasted with a proud smile. There is nothing I do not know about Miami. When do you guys get off? Well, I have a 4-hour break at 6. Then, at 10, I am back to deal with the clans. What clans? Madison questioned. You are sitting in one of the hottest places in South Beach, one boasted. We are? Yes. And you say Leon's is owned by a woman? Madame is over there, one said, indicating the woman sitting with the fat man. What am I calling the fat man? With the fat man in the white suit. So they were right. That was indeed Leon. Jesus. How would you call me? Listen. Listen, me not answer no phone. Unless see after 12 at night now. Only thing open them time your legs and liquor store. And ask me book. Okay? Me send them people, me say my people when me associate with them not have no manners. Them not have no respect, them not have no manners. Me have to tell you the truth. Me have to tell you no. Whenever my people see me online, some people, friends and family alike, anytime them see me online, No matter what hours a day, no matter what hours a night, at that time I call my phone. You can't tell me why them do it. Because you know, so me I use my phone to the live, right? But them a call. What them a call me for? But upon the live, what them want? If a somebody are dead, me can't help them. Call 911. Them not calling me for nothing sensible. Then just a call me just to them see me online. I like how I watch, cause no sister me the online when I call me this hours of the night. Go kick rocks. Yeah, don't call me. End of story. Can I meet her? Miss Leon does no personal publicity. Right about the restaurant, not her. So, this is where it all happens, huh? Kim was silently shaking her head, her expression saying, "What do you think you are doing?" Madison winked at her. She had a strong hunch this was exactly the right way to approach the situation. "I'll tell you what, Juan, for $100, can you give us a tour of the place and some of the history?" "You mean when I get off?" "We were planning on flying back to New York tonight, but I'm sure we could stay over for one more night." "I can recommend a hotel for you," one said. "If you are writing about the nightlife in South Beach, you have to live it. I will tell you exactly where to go, and I will make sure you are welcomed in every place." "That's very accommodating of you," Madison said, "but I'd prefer to concentrate on here. Can you book us a table for dinner?" "Of course," one said. "You and your friend?" "Will there be any gentlemen with you?" "No, this trip is strictly business. There is no lack of gentlemen who would be happy to spend the evening with you," one suggested slyly. "We're not looking for company," Madison said, patting Kim's hand. "We're perfectly happy together." "Oh, I see," one said, rolling his eyes at his own stupidity. "Are you a couple?" Madison smiled. "A couple?" Kim threw her a furious glare. A woman at a nearby table began calling for her check. "I'll be back," one said, tight leather pants taking off. "What are you doing?" Kim demanded as soon as he had left. "Giving us background," Madison said. "This way we'll get to meet Catherine casually, and later I'll tell her." And you hear this? Elise. Oh my word. "So we are staying the night?" "Yes." "Oh, good," Kim said, full of sarcasm. Have one booked us a cozy double. Have one book us a cozy double since we are a couple." "Hey, I only told him that, so we are not bothered by unwanted attention. Just two dykes on the road. Is that it?" "Don't get touchy. Anyway, if it's action you're after, it's always easier to cruise if you are with someone. This way, all your options are open." "Madison," she said, shaking her head in wonderment, "I'm seeing a whole new you since we left New York. You are kind of a changed person." "No, no, I'm not," Madison said firmly. "I'm a survivor. I was thinking about what you said, and you're absolutely right. I have to let go to continue. And what I've realized is that this devastating news is not going to slow me down. I'm my own person. I always have been. I've never believed those people who blame everything on their parents. I'm so fucked up because of my father. I'm so fucked up because of my mother. All that crap. Or I'm a drunk because my mother was an alcoholic." She took a deep breath. So my father was a hitman. Hmm. So he murdered my mother. Hmm. I don't know any of these things for a fact, but I'm accepting them, and I'm beginning to realize they are not part of who I am. "Okay," Kim said. "We'll do this your way." "Thanks," Madison said. "And who knows, you might end up meeting the woman of your dreams." "I'm not looking," Trust me, Madison said, smiling. That's exactly when it happens. Achoo? It happens when you all are not looking. That's when you find somebody. That's when you find man and find woman. When you not looking. Aside go Arliss. Who knows? Let's continue. One returned filled with enthusiasm. Ladies, he said, I will make this night totally memorable. You will not regret staying over. One, he is in charge of everything. How was your meeting? Rosarita asked, not particularly interested, but vaguely aware that she had to keep up some kind of front. The book nice, man. I like it. There is a lot more to hear. There is a lot more to hear in this book. But wait, I'm going to cover up my foot them. Because when you read them kind of book at night, and you know nobody, you know. Yeah, fi. You know what I mean, Arliss? You know what I mean, Shay? When you read them kind of book at hours a night, and you don't have nobody, you feel like your foot them tight. Anyway, let me continue. Chapter 28 we are on. How was your meeting? Rosarita asked, not particularly interested, but vaguely aware that she had to keep up some kind of front. My agent quit, Dexter said, his handsome face glum. Quit you? Rosarita said, not surprised, because Dexter's so-called career was going exactly nowhere. No, quit the agency. What now? I have a new agent, a woman. Oh, attractive? Well, she seems nice, dynamic. No idea. She talks a good game, though. That's what you need, Dexter. Someone who talks a good game. You look rested, he said, fully aware that she had been in bed all day because Conchita had told him on his way in. He considered it a good sign. Maybe her body was trying to tell her something. Did you only just get up? He asked. As a matter of fact, I did, she replied, yawning. I'm still recovering from that Chinese restaurant you insisted we eat at the other night. You're pregnant, you know. Sharon, you're pregnant. Yes, mama. Sharon, pregnant, you're pregnant. Sharon, you now go to school. Me said, no, mama. I remember that song there. He was not in the mood to remind her again that it was a restaurant she had chosen. Annie wants me to study with an acting coach, he said. What do you think? Who is Annie? Well, my new agent. It's not a bad idea, Rosarita said, thinking she couldn't care less what he did. Having spent the day in bed, she had come up with a plan, and the plan was poison. You know, see that woman there is a devil? You know, see that woman is a devil? The husband not do her nothing, you know? The husband not do the woman nothing. I know she think for poison him. She smiled to herself. It was all so simple. Why hadn't she thought of it before? She didn't need a hitman. She didn't need her father. Why allow other people to have something on her? No, this was a project she could undertake all by herself. The idea occurred to her while she was flipping TV channels and had come across an old Betty Davis movie, Poison. The ideal solution was poison. She was planning to poison Dexter, and she was going to do it in Las Vegas. Carrie Hanlon was surrounded by a makeup artist, a body makeup person, 2 hairdressers, 3 stylists, an editor, an assistant from the magazine, and a journalist who was writing a profile on her. Carrie Hanton gave great entourage. Carrie, supermodel that she was, seemed completely unimpressed with Joel's roses. She glanced at him like he was a creature from outer space and threw him to one of her minions. For a moment, Joel was intimidated, but then he thought, the hell with this bitch. I'm the son of one of the richest men in the world. Why shouldn't she sit up and take notice like all the rest? The audacity. Testio, a maniac looking Italian American, the same age as Joel, with long, greasy hair and several gold stud earrings, was pleased to see him. This is like old times, he said, flinging his arms around Joel's shoulders. Haven't seen you, haven't heard from you. Where you been hiding, man? Whatever happened? Whatever happened to Miss Denmark? Joel asked, hoping there was no bad blood between them. It was stupid to fall out over a woman when there were certainly enough of them to go around. Oh, her, Testa said, obviously out of love. She turned out to be the same as all the rest. Went back to Denmark and married a farmer. Who are you talking about? Carrie asked, sitting in the midst of her entourage at the long trestle table. Dogmar, remember her? Testia said. Not really, Carrie replied, picking up a lettuce leaf and nibbling at it. She can't have been anybody. Carrie Hanton was a magnificent specimen of a woman. She was 5 feet 10 inches tall, with a mane of tawny hair, large eyes, full lips, a straight nose, and the kind of body every red-blooded American boy wished lived next door. It's been a while, Carrie, Joel said, finding a place for himself at the table as close to her as possible. Have we met before? Carrie inquired, prompting a sly under-the-table giggle from her bisexual stylist. Surely you remember, Joel said. Or maybe you were too stoned that night. I don't do drugs, Carrie said, causing her other stylist to break into insane laughter. Coke isn't drugs, she muttered. Coke clears the sinuses. Uno no se me pasa. I have very bad sinuses. Anyway, I don't do it. I don't do drugs. The interviewer, a thin, bespectacled man, perked up considerably. You don't do what? He asked, tape recorder in hand. Any kind of drugs, Carrie said, widening her eyes. I take vitamins. They keep me full of energy and make me look good. No, I make her look good, muttered the Chinese makeup artist sitting at the other end of the table. How come you're here today? Testia asked Joel, passing him a bottle of red wine. Well, I was in the neighborhood, Joel said, pouring himself a glass. Figured it had been too long. Had no idea you were working with Carrie. She's not easy, Testia murmured in his ear, but she's worth it. I hope you're talking about the photos, Carrie said, enjoying being the center of attention, although quite used to it at this stage in her career. She had been a star model since she was 15. No, Testia teased. I was talking about sex. Ooh. I don't have sex, Carrie said, glancing at her interviewer. I'm saving myself for marriage. Testia roared with laughter. The interviewer said, Is that so? Carrie smiled, her all-American girl smile. That's what you are going to print, she said sweetly, isn't it? The man nodded. He was in the presence of true beauty, and it was making him a nervous wreck. I have a business proposition I'd like to discuss with you, Carrie, Joel said, pouring her some wine. Talk to my agent, Carrie answered, dismissing him with a wave of her hand. It's personal, Joel persisted. I have no secrets from my agent, Carrie said, licking her full glossy lips with a wickedly pink tongue. A wickedly pink tongue. That's interesting. You might want to listen to me first. Why pay 10% when you don't have to? 15%, Carrie corrected, as if paying more was a badge of honor. And the reason I pay 15% is because my agent gets me the best deals in town. And I thought you were smart, Joel said, not endearing himself to her, but unable to stop. Carrie tossed her mane of hair, turned to one of her hairdressers, and began talking about a recent Beck concert she had attended. Joel realized he was being dismissed. He glanced at Testio, who pulled a face. Come into my office, Testio said, getting up. There's something I want to show you. The two men left the table and walked into Testio's private office. The photographer shut and locked the door. Super cunt is some trip, huh? Testia remarked. She certainly is, Joel agreed. Thing is, I need her for something, yeah? Lots of luck, Testia said, absent-mindedly stroking his crotch. No, I'm serious. My father is under the impression I'm bringing her to Vegas for the upcoming championship fight. I look like a dumbass if I don't show up with her. What am I gonna do? Testia shrugged. That's your problem, not mine. Wanna do some blow? Why not? Joel said, although he wasn't in the mood. I've got a thought, Testia said, going for his stash, which he kept in a locked black leather Gucci overnight bag. There is one thing that our Carrie likes better than anything. What's that? Boys. Boys? Yeah, her scene is 15-year-old boys. You gotta be shitting me. I know. It's crazy, Testia said, putting down several lines. There you have this incredibly gorgeous 23-year-old super cunt, and she only gets off on 15-year-old boys? I had this teenage intern working for me last summer. Thought Carrie was gonna slice him up and eat him for dinner. So here's your answer. All you gotta do is find her a hot 15-year-old. And, oh yeah, I forgot. She likes him to be Puerto Rican and built like a brick shithouse. Anyway, I don't fucking believe this, Joel said. Believe it, Testia said, snorting a line of Carrie's been successful for so long, she lives her life like a man, knows what she wants and goes after it. So get her what she wants, and I'm sure you can persuade her to go with you. You make it all sound so easy, Joel said. What am I supposed to find out? What am I supposed to find? Where am I supposed to find a horny, good-looking 15-year-old Puerto Rican boy? Well, try Madame Sylvia's. But just so know, this a sound like one. What them call that something there again? In them house there. What them call that again? What them call that again, Arlies? Like, one of them house there where them find, I don't know, like when them can go pick up tricks. One of them back road house, I don't know what I talk about. Who is Madame Sylvia? Where have you been? Testia said, snorting a second line of the white stuff. Madame Sylvia's is an escort service for rich women. If you have got the cash, they have got the kid. Wanna hear that? Then how come Carrie doesn't go straight to this Madame Sylvia? 'Cause she can't. Too famous. Somebody has to do it for her. Testio explained, snorting a third line of the white stuff. I'm telling you, Joel, this is what she wants. Find it for her, and believe me, she'll be all yours. Now that Dexter was home, Rosarita decided to go out. She had no desire to sit around making conversation with the husband she was soon going to get rid of. Where are you going? Dexter asked. Barney's, she said, although her plan was to visit a few bookstores and start doing research on various poisons. She had decided that a hotel in Vegas, where they'd be surrounded by people, was the perfect place for her to do the deed. She had in mind something simple like arsenic or strychnine. Strychnine? Okay, a poison that would work fast and not throw suspicion on her. In Vegas, anything could happen. I'll come with you, Dexter offered. No, you won't, she answered quickly. I'm choosing outfits for Vegas, and you'll get in the way. I'd like to see what you're planning to wear. You will? When I decide. Right now, I'm only at the looking stage. Rosarita was a big spender. Because of this, Chaz still took care of her credit card bills. You know that Chaz was her daddy. He spoiled her, make her just do whatever she wanted. I don't make the kind of money you are used to, Dexter told her earlier on in their marriage. I realized that, she snapped back at him. I'll get my father to pay. So Chaz still continued to settle her sometimes exorbitant bills. Rosarita swept from the apartment, claiming she'd be back in an hour. Dexter was well aware that this meant at least 3 hours. Now that he did not have the studio to go to every day, he was at a loss. He missed the camaraderie of shooting a TV series. He missed being treated like a star on the set. And he especially missed the reassuring presence of Silver Anderson, who had given him the sense that he was at least working with a true professional. Even though she had behaved in such a vulgar way at the end, he still couldn't help missing her. He wandered around the spacious apartment, thinking about his future and what it held. Annie had assured him she would call him later with the address and number of the acting coach she had in mind. Go see him, she had said. Do what Johnny Depp did. Study and study and study hard. Now, Johnny Depp is considered a real actor, not just another pretty face, and that's because he studied his craft with a professional. When the phone rang, he grabbed it before Conchita could pick it up. May I speak to Mrs. Falcon? The female voice said. She's not in right now, Dexter explained. Can I take a message? This is Dr. Chip's secretary. The doctor asked me to call and make an appointment for Mrs. Falcon next week. What does she need to see him about? Dexter asked. Excuse me? Huh, this is Mr. Falcon. I was wondering what the appointment was about. Oh, Mr. Falcon, what a treat, the secretary gushed. Congratulations. It's wonderful news. Thanks, he said, and then a shot in the dark. You mean about the baby? We are so excited for both of you. I'm sure Mrs. Falcon has been longing to get pregnant. And may I say, I love you on dark days. I set my VCR so I can watch it when I get home. I'm such a fan of yours. Thanks, he said, always happy to hear from someone who thought he was great, because as sure as hell never heard it from Rosarita. I'll have Mrs. Falcon call you to make an appointment. He put down the phone and was suddenly overcome with a wild desire to dance around the apartment, yelling triumphantly he had finally gotten Rosarita pregnant. His wife was finally knocked up. No wonder she had stayed in bed all day. The news was the answer to all his prayers. Now he didn't have to worry about his marriage. All he had to worry about was his sinking career. Rosarita go sink some arsenic pan him. But anyway, let's continue. This book is nice and juicy. It is something else. It takes you through the emotions. It takes you through wonderment. It takes you through romance. It takes you through anger. It takes you through joy. I love these kinds of books because, they make your emotions ride the waves. And I like that. So you don't stay stuck in one emotion. You don't stay angry throughout the entire reading, or you don't stay like completely euphoric, or, the emotions vary. And I like books like this. So let us continue to chapter 9. People on the top, don't forget to tap the screen for me, please. Hold on, let me put this right. And let us continue on chapter 9. Now what? Said Kim, hands on her solid hips as she and Madison stood side by side in the double room one had booked for them. Guess I'll have to sleep on the floor, Madison said, straight-faced. This is a ridiculous situation, Kim snapped. But you have to admit, Madison said, it is funny. And oh boy, was I ready for a laugh. Besides, she added thoughtfully, since we are a couple, we don't have a ton of guys hitting on us tonight. And what makes you think there'd be a ton of guys hitting on you? Kim said. Us, Madison corrected, because, as I'm sure you are aware, once men see women out alone, their dicks go into overdrive. I don't find this situation at all amusing, Kim said, poker-faced. This new you, full of light-hearted cracks. Do you regard being a lesbian as some kind of a joke? Not at all, Madison protested. It's just that I've never had a close relationship with a gay woman before, so maybe I'm not behaving in the right fashion. Am I supposed to ignore that you are gay and never mentioned it? You are not supposed to ignore it, Kim said, frowning. But you don't go around telling everyone you are my companion because you think that that will protect you from all the men who will be chasing after you. God, she snorted. You must have led a spoiled life. I'm sorry if I've offended you in any way, Madison said, truly not understanding why Kim seemed so upset. I'm going down to the desk and get us another room. I figured this wasn't a problem. Well, it's not a problem, Kim said, still on red alert. I'm sure I can manage to keep my hands off you for one night. Oh, now it's your turn to be funny. Anyways, Kim said, I have other clients that need my attention. So if you want to meet your aunt, you had better do it tonight because I'm out of here and back to New York first thing in the morning. I fully intend to meet her, Madison said, and meeting her this way means she can't slam the door in my face. And that exactly is your plan. To sneak up to her and say, oh, by the way, I'm the niece you don't want to see. I'll figure it out as I go, Madison said, refusing to be put off. Good, Kim said, sitting down on the edge of the bed. Then basically, you don't need me. So I'll just stay in the hotel. But I do need you, Madison insisted. I feel more secure with you around. Why? Well, I just do. Okay, Kim said reluctantly, sighing. If you absolutely insist. I do, Madison said. And since neither of us came dressed for a night on the town, I suggest we go shopping. My treat. I hate shopping, Kim grumbled. Nothing ever fits me. And I'm perfectly comfortable in my tracksuit. It's my uniform. No, Madison said. We are in Miami. We have to look good. Besides, I've never seen you in a dress, and you are not likely to, Kim muttered. Leon's at night was a sight to behold. Throbbing Cuban music was being played by a live group. Exotic creatures were everywhere. Fantastic-looking women and handsome, sexy men, all as snake-hipped as one, and everyone ready to party. Jesus! Madison breathed, glancing around at the throng, and I thought South Beach was simply media hype. Seems I was wrong. It was 10 o'clock, and one who greeted them at the door informed them the real action didn't start until after midnight. Can't wait to see what the real action looks like, Madison deadpanned. Dancing, drinking, smoking, and fucking. One ventured, giving a naughty little boy grin. Did I say something wrong? He asked innocently. Not at all, Madison replied coolly. I've done a little of all of them in my time. Kim threw her a quick glance as if to say, don't encourage him. Where do we sit? Madison inquired. I'd appreciate a prime position. She was wearing a skimpy black dress that clung to her body like a second skin. Her hair was long and wild, gypsy gold hoops hung from her ears, and she had even put on some makeup. Heads turned. She didn't care. She felt different, more free. She didn't know why. What she did know was that she was in desperate need for a drink to bolster her courage. Kim was dressed in her new outfit, black leather pants, boots, a red shirt, and a long black leather coat. Madison had insisted on buying the clothes for her, in spite of Kim's hearty protestations. We're not going to a fashion show, Kim had grumbled. We have to look the part, Madison had insisted. Anyway, I feel like spending money, and black leather suits you admirably. Reluctantly, Kim had agreed to do the purchase. In spite of her height and heavy build, she was a good-looking woman, strong and powerful, with attractive features, emphasizing her Native American heritage. Madison had a feeling that if her own sexual inclination traveled in a different direction, Kim might be the perfect choice. That if Katie Lang wasn't available. Donald, what's up? Thank you, Donald. You understand the assignment. Thank you for the tops, my love. I appreciate it. Shay Karen, you see how long me there I watch you? You see how long you there watch me? Welcome. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Let us continue. How am I there? I wish part me reach. Oh no, hold on there. Right, I saw. Okay. Earlier, Madison had called Jamie. What are you doing in Miami? Jamie had asked, perplexed. I thought you were going through some kind of crisis. I am, she replied. This is part of it. Miami is part of your crisis? Jamie had said like it was the most ridiculous thing he had ever heard. I'll be back tomorrow and explain everything. You better. One led them towards a center table. May I say that you two ladies look very beautiful tonight, he crooned. It is a shame you are involved. Kim threw Madison another warning glance. Do not even go there, it said. How about you, one? Madison asked. Do you have a girlfriend? 1, 2, 3, he grinned again. I have many. Why is it that I'm not surprised? Madison said as they reached a key table near the already crowded dance floor. She sat down, looked around again, ordered a margarita, and wondered what the hell had happened to her in such a short period of time. She had thought she was so together, and then everything she was so sure of crumbled. But she would get through it. She was a true survivor, and tonight was only the beginning. An hour and 3 margaritas later, she was feeling no pain. Even Kim was starting to relax. As the sensual beat of the music and the hedonistic atmosphere swept over them, while not exactly drunk, Madison was aware she was not totally in control. She had been trying to spot Catherine, But so far her aunt had not put in an appearance. Finally, when Kim went off to the ladies' room, she asked one where the owner was. I told you, he said. She will not be interviewed. If I don't use the inter- if I don't use the interview, surely I can speak to her. Madison persisted. Why would you want to speak to her if you will not use it? Because Leon's is her creation and it's obviously very successful. Did she open this place by herself? Or does she have a husband? Or maybe a business partner? You ask a lot of questions, you know, one said, a weary look in his eyes. Well, I'm a journalist, she said. That's what we are supposed to do. Well, Miss Liz does not care for journalists, one said, his face hardening. Surely she wants publicity for Leon's, Madison insisted. I've never heard of a restaurant club owner who doesn't. The restaurant speaks for itself, one said. Miss Leon never does publicity. Then let me speak to her husband. There is no husband. Where is he? I said he's not around. If I promise not to mention that she owns this place, will you introduce me? Why are you so anxious to meet her? He asked, staring at Madison suspiciously. Because I think because I think it's fascinating a woman has created all of this. It's not usual. I'm sure you have never heard of it, but there's a restaurant in New York called Elaine's that's owned and run by a woman. And then there's Regine's in Paris. Two expectations. Not a lot of women create this kind of sensation. Your boss should be proud. You think I'm stupid? One said haughtily. Of course I have heard of Elaine's and Regine's. When I first came to America, I worked as a busboy at Le Cirque in New York. I know much about restaurants. When did you first come here? I came from Havana when I was 13. My mother sent for me. What does your mother do? Madison asked. Before he could reply, Kim returned from the ladies' room, and one retreated into the throng. What's going on? Kim said, sitting down and peering at her. I think you should order a black coffee. You're starting to look glassy-eyed. I'm not, Madison protested. I'm having fun, something I don't do very often. You are drunk. Bullshit, Madison said, merely relaxing. Ha! Kim responded, not believing her, and rightfully so. Don't do drinks at all? Madison demanded. Surely, you know. Um, we can't hold our liquor very well. Who is we? Native Americans? Oh, please, what kind of crap is that? I prefer not to put it to rest. I prefer not to put it to the test, Kim said. Anyways, my goal is to keep a clear mind. Thank you so much, Donald. You are the real deal. Yeah, well, while you're keeping a clear mind, you might have missed the beautiful black creature sitting over there who has been eyeing you for the last half hour. Excuse me? Kim said, immediately blushing. Take a look, Madison said, indicating to the corner table. Kim glanced over. Sure enough, there was a very tall black girl in a long blonde wig and skimpy gold dress. The girl smiled at Kim and raised her glass. Methinks somebody might be getting lucky tonight, Madison sing-songed, and unfortunately it's not me. You know, Kim said slowly, it's okay for straight people to sleep around, but contrary to popular belief, the gay community is a touch more discriminating. Madison burst out laughing. That's the biggest crock of bullshit I've ever heard, she said. I have gay friends who think nothing of doing 3 guys a night. That was before AIDS, Kim pointed out. Things have changed. Maybe at first, Madison said, but now everybody's gone back to their good old ways. You have no idea what you're talking about, Kim said. You are half drunk and completely hopeless. At which point, the black girl got up and slinked her way over. Wanna dance? She said, standing directly in front of Kim. Kim was just about to say no when Madison gave her a prod and answered for her. She'd love to. Reluctantly, Kim got to her feet. It was at that moment that Madison observed Catherine entering the room. She was accompanied by a man in a white suit, the same man she had seen her with earlier. Hey! Madison jumped up. I'll be back, she said. She maneuvered her way around the edge of the dance floor, trying to avoid the pulsating, swaying figures. Without hesitating, she hurried over to Catherine. Excuse me, she said, excited, totally blowing her cool. I've been waiting to meet you all night. I'm writing about Leon's for a magazine, and although I've been made aware you don't do personal publicity, I wanted to shake your hand and say, this is an amazing place. Catherine stared at her for a long, silent moment, her face very still. You are my niece, aren't you? She said without a trace of emotion. I told the woman who phoned that I did not wish to see you, so why are you here? Oh my goodness. Catherine didn't. Because, Madison said sadly as the room began to spin. I don't know who I am anymore, and you're probably the only person who can help me find out. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Poor Madison. Madison is lost in this world. She is lost. She ain't got nobody. Her mama is dead. She just found out her daddy was a hitman. Poor thing. Now her auntie says she didn't want to see her. Ain't that something? But we're going to continue. I appreciate you, Donald. You are the only good Donald for 2025. You are the only Donald I want to see in 2025. I appreciate you, my love. I appreciate you. Let us move on. We are on to chapter 3. Chapter 30. Chapter 30. Forgive me for saying chapter 3. We're on to chapter 30. Hold on. Whew. What? I said, this, remember, I left the chicken downstairs on the fire. I said, the smell of it is just filling the whole house. I'm not going to go down there. I don't know. But let us continue. Chapter 30. Hi, honey. How are you feeling? Rosarita gave Dex a weary look. Why was he acting all concerned? I'm feeling fine, thank you, she said, although she wasn't, having had an extremely frustrating trip to several bookstores. It wasn't easy digging up information about poisons, but she managed to do some research. That's not a poison pronounced. Is it strychnine? Oh, strychnine. Okay. Strychnine, she had discovered, increased reflexes, caused jumping of the muscles when touched, followed by painful spasms, dilated pupils, and asphyxia cyanosis, which did not tell her a lot. Arsenic was not much better than strychnine. Heat and irritation in the throat, vomiting, cramps and restlessness, even convulsions, prostration and fainting. How was she going to find a nice, quiet poison that would seep into his system and kill him within an hour? What a bitch. Pardon my language, people. An hour would give her time to send him out of the casino, where he would conveniently collapse and die while she was nowhere in sight. You see how people wicked? You see how people demonic? My word. She didn't need him having fits and delirium and all of that. She had her alibi all planned. She would be somewhere in the public with Chaz and her parents in law. Cast iron. No arguing with that. God damn it. Even poisoning somebody wasn't easy. What a bitch. Can we talk? Dexter said, taking her by the arm and leading her into the bedroom. Oh, God, what now? Had Joel called and revealed everything? What is it, Dexter? She said irritably. I just got in. I'd like to relax and have a cup of coffee before you come to me with all your problems. No problems, honey, he said in that same smooth, incredibly aggravating tone. I know you were probably waiting to tell me later, only I found out, and I can't keep it to myself. Now don't be mad at me, 'cause I've already called my parents and told them. Told them what? She said, alarmed at his sudden concern. You're such a clever girl, he said, and I'm so proud of you. Clever girl? Proud of her? What the hell was he on about? Dex, will you kindly explain what you're talking about? She said, speaking slowly. The baby, he said, beaming. Our baby. Oh my God. Somehow or other, he has found out that I'm pregnant. That is all I need. She sat down on the edge of the bed, her stomach fluttering. How do you know? Dr. Ship's secretary called to make an appointment for you. I had a hunch, so I asked her. He moved in front of her, taking her hands into his. Why didn't you tell me, honey? I, I, I only found out myself this afternoon, she stammered, caught off guard. I was planning on telling you tonight. I'm so happy, Rosarita, he said, pulling her up and enveloping her in a nice big hug. It's great news. I suppose it is, she said, still trying to collect her thoughts. It probably was a good thing, he knew, because to the world there'd now be this loving and united couple, united, married, and having a baby, so that when he dropped dead, she would not be a suspect. Watch out with some saying. When some say me a night owl if me not sleep. Then when some me nearly did sleep all day. Me sleep all day yesterday, you know. Eh? You just a wake up, you see it. Me sleep all day Saturday. Basically. Because me go back to sleep me about like 10, 11 o'clock, 10:30, somewhere around there. So I me sleep basically the whole day. So me no want to sleep, you know. Me go be up until Sunday evening and then me go sleep early, come up wake up early for go to work. It is what it is. Life is lifing, sister. Life is like lifing. You wake up the right time. You wake up the right time, me I read a sexy book here in these hours of the morning. I only found out myself this afternoon, she stammered, caught off guard. I was planning on telling you tonight. I'm so happy, Rosarita, he said, pulling her up and enveloping her in a nice big hug. It's great news. I suppose it is, she said, still trying to collect her thoughts. It probably was a good thing, he knew, because to the world there'd now be this loving and united couple, united, married, and having a baby, so that when he dropped dead, she would not be a suspect. Instead, people would feel sorry for her, the bereaved widow, the pregnant bereaved widow, a part she could play to perfection. How would all this sit with Joel? Should she run it by him? Absolutely not. He might not condone murder as the answer to her marital woes. I'm glad you are happy, Dexter, she said, deciding to go with it. It came as a shock to me because, as you well know, I always used my diaphragm, and I can't understand how this happened. Protection is never 100%, he said. Besides, I wanted us to start a family. Thank God he was understanding. Another man might have said, since you always use your diaphragm, you could have done. How could this be? Have you been sleeping around? And that's why I should have asked her. I'm sorry this had to happen while you are out of a job, Rosarita said. It seems a It seems a pity to burden you with further problems. You can be very thoughtful sometimes, Dexter said, much much as you try to keep your sweet side hidden, it's always there, underneath the rough cookie act. That's why I married you, 'cause I know the real you. Thank you, she said. Thank you, she said demurely. You are welcome. What did your parents say? They were excited. I was thinking, if it's a boy, can we call him Dexter? Of course. And how about Rosarita for a girl? Whatever you want, darling. I'm planning to treat you like a princess, he promised. You can have anything you want. Thank you, Dex. But perhaps you shouldn't make too big of a fuss. Let's wait until we get back from Vegas and tell people then. Eh, you hear her? I saw when people are planning for destroy you, know. I saw when people are planning for you, see? You are planning for have good time with people and people in them back, behind your back, planning to destroy. Shut up about when we come back from Vegas. And she already is planning to croak him in Vegas. So she know when there won't be any them coming back. You see how people wicked? When me tell you I'm afraid of people, I'm not trust people. Don't think I joke me I make. Let me continue. I'm wondering if you should still take the trip. What are you talking about? She said quickly. I'm pregnant, not invalid. Do you really think it's wise? Well, I love Vegas. All that shopping. I can take I can take Martha shopping and Matt too. In fact, I'll take everybody shopping. You know, I'm a world-class shopper. He smiled. Yes, I know that. And I promise you, Rosarita, I'll get another job that will be better than the soap. I'm planning to be the star you always wanted. Will you trust me on that? Yes, Dexter, she said, nodding. I know you won't let me down. Madame Sylvia, as suspicious suspicious. Who wants her? I'm calling to speak to Madame Sylvia. I was given this number by Testio Ramata. Never heard of him. Of course, Joel thought. What am I doing? This isn't going to work. Testio Ramata, the photographer, he said. Put Madame Sylvia on the phone. Wait a minute now, the voice said, and went away. A few moments later, the phone was picked up again. This is Madame Sylvia. How can I help you? Yeah, Testia told me to call you. He said you would have what I want. And the password is? I don't know about any fucking password, he growled, beginning to lose it. Then I'm afraid I can't help you. Do you know who I am? He demanded. No. Joel Blaine, Leon Blaine's son. Give me your number, Mr. Blaine, and I'll call you right back. Is that necessary? Yes, it is. If your secretary picks up, I'll use the alias Mrs. Brown. Don't bother. I'll give you my private number. He did so and waited impatiently by the phone. Within seconds, she called back. I'm sorry, Mr. Blaine. Can't be too careful. I understand, he said, although he didn't. Did Testia tell you that this is an escort agency for women only? I do not supply gay companions. I supply straight men for straight women. So I really don't see how I can help you. I have this problem, Joel said. It's something I feel uncomfortable talking about on the phone. Can we meet? That's most unusual. Generally, I do not meet potential clients. Listen, Joel said. I've told you who I am. I'm not likely to turn up with a wire attached to my chest and a couple of cops trailing me. She chuckled politely. I didn't think so, because I do have our conversation on tape, and I'm sure you wouldn't want it to be made public, just as I wouldn't want anything I said to be made public. Then can we meet? Very well, she said. How about the bar at Four Seasons Hotels at 7? How will I know you? If you are who you say you are, I'll know you. Joel slammed down the phone, feeling foolish and inept. He had gotten himself into this situation because of Marika, the Asian cunt. Damn her! Why had he told her he was bringing Carrie Anton to Vegas? The most difficult girl in New York. He walked across to the window of his apartment and stared at Central Park spread out before him. Unfortunately for him, there were no other apartments in sight. Sometimes, when he was desperate for an audience, he booked a high-rise suite at the Four Seasons, invited a girl over, and made love to her in front of the bedroom window, which was conveniently overlooked by the hotel next door. That was always a kick. Tourists Tourists staying in the other hotel must really think New York was a hot place. Joel chuckled at his fond memories. He's such a freak. Maybe he should do that with Rosa Ritter. He hadn't seen her in a while, and she was probably pissed at him. But so what? He was sure that once he said, "Meet me," she'd come running. Married women were the best kind because if you treated them like shit, there was nothing they could do about it. Isn't he a piece of crap? This is what single men think about married women, When you're going around and cheating on your husband, running around with some dude and you think, oh, he loves me and he'll respect you. You hear what Joel said? He said that's the good thing he love about cheating with married women because you can treat them like shit and there's nothing they can do about it because they can't complain to their husband. They can't complain to a soul. They have to just take it. Like, seriously. Yeah, seriously. Rosa Richard always warned him, don't call me, I'll call you. But since he had been giving her the brush, he knew if he wanted to see her again, he'd have to make the effort. Damn! All he needed was the husband answering. That big ox of a husband, TV guy with bird seed for brains. Joel kind of got off on the thought that she preferred fucking him instead of her pretty boy husband. And why not? Joel had the goods and the money. When his father dropped, Joel would be mega rich. Leon Blaine was almost 70. How much longer did that old cocker have to live? On a sudden impulse, he looked up her number in his little black book and picked up the phone. A female voice answered. Rosa Ritter? He said. Joel? She whispered, sounding panicky. I told you never to call me here. Where have you been? Oh, God, let me call you back. I'm at my apartment, he said. I have a new number. I know, she said. It's unlisted. I couldn't get a hold of it. Your bitch secretary wouldn't give it to me. What is it? Quickly, quickly, hold on. He told her the number and hung up. Mistake. He should never have given his new giving her. He should never have given her his new number, considering the reason he had changed it was because of her. But then again, she was certainly the most adventurous woman he had ever come across, and she wasn't a hooker. It was one thing for a hooker to be adventurous, but to get a normal woman to do the things she liked to do, well, that made it all the more exciting, and she gave the greatest head he had ever come across. A beat of 10 and his phone rang. He grabbed it. Meet me at the Four Seasons Hotel in half an hour, he said. I can't do that, she said, still sounding panicky. Why not? I have a husband at home. All of a sudden she remember she have husband at home. In shells? All of a sudden she remember. Tell him you gotta go out. Where would I be going at 6 in the evening? I thought you ran your own life. Isn't he working on a soap? It's been cancelled. He's home in the other room. You made a mistake calling me here. He could have picked up the phone. Well, he didn't. So quit bitching. I can't have him finding out about you, Joel. Why? Why not? I told you. He'll soon be history. Yeah, you've been saying that forever. Can you meet me or not? You see, she plan to get rid of her husband enough for a man who don't want her. You never hear this? Well, he knew he had her. Four Seasons, the lobby. Don't be late. I haven't got a lot of time. Is there anything special you want to tell me? She said, waiting for him to say something nice. What do you think? How do I know what you think? I've been trying to reach you for weeks. Now you call me out of nowhere and insist that I meet you immediately. Oh, women. Why do they always have to talk? Why couldn't they just shut the fuck up and do as I say? Did you get those crotchless panties? He asked. Yes, she said breathlessly. Now wear 'em. I'll see you soon. All he got to do about her, all he wants is just, you know, all he wants. That's all he cares about. And she have her husband in her yard. Still that she gonna decide if you go turn up ass for her husband, she gonna be turning up for this man who ain't got nothing at all to do. Ain't want her nor nothing. You see how sometimes we make some poor choices? Who was that on the phone? Dexter asked as she ventured into the den where he was watching TV. It was Chaz, she said. He needs to see me. I think it's about that woman he's living with, the one he pretends is a nurse. Why does he have to see you? Well, it's a family thing, she said vaguely. I must go over there now. So she tell her husband lie? I'll come with you, Dexter said, clicking off the TV. The husband love her, but she'd find every excuse not to be with her husband. She would find every excuse not to love her husband just so she can do some shit she ain't got no business doing. What a little bitch. But anyway, I'll come with you, Dexter said, clicking off the TV. No, she said quickly. He wants to see me by myself, mumbling something about it being private. If it's family business, maybe I should be there, Dexter said. Anyway, now that you are pregnant, I can't have you running around by yourself. Don't get paranoid, Dexter. I'll be back in an hour. Rosa Richter had never been the best of liars, but she seemed to have pulled this one off pretty well because Dexter stopped objecting and switched the TV back on. She hurried into the bedroom, went straight to her lingerie drawer, opened it, and inspected the supply of crotchless panties she had purchased in every color imaginable. They were stuffed in the back of the drawer so that Dexter wouldn't come across them by mistake. Not that he searched through her lingerie, but she could never be sure. Choosing a scarlet pair with black lace trim, she rushed into the bathroom, locked the door, and slipped them on. Then she touched up her makeup and reached Chaz on her cell phone. Daddy, this is important, she said, speaking fast. I'm coming over to see you, but not really. If Dexter calls, tell him I'm on my way. If he asks for me, say I've just left, okay? What the fuck's going on now? Chaz grumbled. Nothing to concern yourself with, Dad. I have some private business to conduct, and Dexter is determined to stalk my every step. You doing something you shouldn't? Chaz asked suspiciously. What do you mean? She said innocently. You had better not screw around on him, Chaz growled. He's likely to beat the shit out of you. Daddy, you're so dramatic, she said with a heavy sigh. Now remember, if he asks, I'm there, or I'm on my way there, or I've just left. Got it? What do you think I am, a moron? I got it. Thanks, Daddy. She clicked off the phone, took one last look in the mirror, and slipped from the apartment. See you tomorrow, my love. Get you some rest. She want more love. Get you some rest, Arlies. She want more love, win some. She want to slap her that she needs. That she need. But she did about she had cheat on her husband. Oh my God. Ah! Just in time. Me catch that, Karine. Me catch. Thank you, Karine. Me catch it. Me catch it. Oh my God. Just in time. I look up just in time. Forget the Mexican hat and mustache. Have a good one, early. Thank you, Karine. Karine, you're not going to bed this hours of the night. Insist when are they in bed this hours of night? Only me up them time of night here, you know. Only me up them time of night here. But I appreciate enough to stay up with me. See there 1:30 if you stay up with me while me I read. Cause you know when me start reading book here, I mean I like to stop, you know. That's why I read it off and left a little bit funeral right now. Let us continue, because the book sweet. The book is sweet. It is nice. And don't forget people to tap the screen. And don't forget people to hit the like button. Alright? But by the way, Shala Blacks, bless up a nice clean self, my friend. How are you doing? Good night, good night, good night. Winsome, that is my friend Shala Blacks. Him love exercise. Him love exercise. You remember you that tell me say, you want one man with one 6-pack? Him have 6-pack. Winsome, you need to come over TikTok, come see him. Him up on YouTube too, you know. Can go watch him. I exercise. May I sell you off, Shala? Shala, may I sell you off to the highest bidder? Something crazy like that. Here we some. Anyway, here, I'm going to continue reading. Fortunately for Joel, the hotel was able to oblige him with the suite he requested. 38th floor, on the left side, overlooked by the hotel next door. He waited in the ultra-modern lobby until Rosarita put in an appearance. When he finally saw her, he realized that in a strange way, he had kind of missed her. He gave her a quick peck on the cheek. You are lucky I'm here, she said, slightly out of breath. Yeah? What makes me so lucky? Because you haven't been treating me very nicely, she scolded. I know by being married upsets you, but you could at least treat me a little nicer. You see it? A girl for go yard to her husband, you know. Hmm. How can I treat you anyway? How can I treat you anyway at all while you are still married? He complained. What am I supposed to do? Come over to your place and hold hands with your husband? Don't be silly, Joelle. I got a surprise for you, he said, taking her hand. What is it? She asked, excited to see him. You'll see, he said, leading her over to the elevator. They traveled in silence to the 38th floor. When they got out, he walked her towards the suite. She wondered if she would tell him about her pregnancy. Too soon, a voice warned her. Much too soon. He opened the door to the suite and ushered her in. Straight into the bedroom, he said, patting her on the ass, and open all the blinds. I can't stay the night, she said. I got out for an hour. That's all I can manage. An hour will do, he said. It's 10 after 6. I have a meeting downstairs at 7. You'll be safely out of here by that time. Shala. You mean when me when on the ear R, she said me mix up. What mean by me mix up? What mean by me mix up? Me? Me not mix up. Me not mix up. I just I just saw the thing said, Sister Winsome. I just saw the thing said. And the book here mix up. The book here very mix up. Mm-hmm. I me love it. Me love the. All right, see this song. All right, the mixing up of this book. But let's continue. What are you doing? She asked curiously. What do you think I'm doing? He said with a dirty laugh. We are about to entertain the folks next door. And as she opened the blinds on the side window, she realized exactly what he had in mind. Lights on, he commanded, clothes off. We're giving the out-of-towners a show the likes of which they'd never seen on Broadway. Get to it, baby. This is a take. Now you tell me you have your husband in your yard and you are going to be humiliated like this by one man who is all over the place? Oh my goodness. Reluctantly, Catherine Leon agreed to speak to her niece Madison, Reluctantly, Catherine Leon agreed to speak to her niece. Madison followed the dark-haired woman into a comfortable private office in the back of the restaurant, where there were video monitors on the wall and speakers playing music. Catherine switched everything off, stared at Madison for a moment, then gave a deep sigh. I know who you were when I saw you this afternoon, she said in a soft, slightly accented voice. It was smart of you to find me, although I suppose I'm not that difficult to find if one starts looking. My detective found you, Madison said restlessly. I see, the woman said, sitting down on a long Art Deco couch. Unsteady on her feet, Madison sat down next to her. Catherine gave another long, drawn-out sigh. You see, Madison, she began, after my sister's murder, I had to get away from Michael and his evil. So I fled to Miami and married a man who was good to me. My husband got up. He put up the money so I could start this place. Then later he was killed in an accident. Leon's began small. Then after a big earthquake in LA, everyone began flocking here. Photographers, models, designers. They all discovered South Beach with a vengeance. At first, I was worried. I thought the publicity might put me on the front pages, but the people who cared about me realized I did not desire personal publicity. So Leon's became a force on its own, and I stayed in the background. I'm not interested in the history of your restaurant, Madison interrupted fiercely. I'm interested in you and what you can tell me. I see, Catherine said softly. Madison got up and began pacing. Recently, I discovered that the woman I believed was my mother all these years was really not my mother, she said, watching Catherine for a reaction. You might have read that she and her boyfriend were murdered. I know, Catherine said, her face very still. Stella was shot in the same way as my sister. Madison ran her hands through her long hair, wishing she felt more together and able to handle this. But unfortunately, too many margaritas had fogged her brain, and she knew she wasn't thinking as clearly as she should. Are you saying you think Michael could have done it? Catherine regarded her carefully. What do you know about your father, Madison? Did he tell you everything? No, she said quickly. As soon as I discovered Stella wasn't my mother, I hired a private detective. She's here with me tonight. Kim did some investigating, came up with the press clippings, informed me that Michael, oh God, I still can't believe it. What did he tell you? Catherine asked gently. Well, she said Michael was once a hitman for someone in the mob. Her eyes met Catherine's, and she stared at her hopefully. That's completely crazy, isn't it? It must seem crazy to you, Catherine murmured. To me, it's something I always knew. From the very beginning, I warned Beth she was playing a dangerous game, but she loved Michael, and there was nothing I could say to change her mind. When some say a hot man she love. Watch it, Shala! Shala say a nice bedtime story. Yes, Shala. Nice bedtime story, right? Yes, sir. I'm loving it. Ah! Win some coming time for bedtime story as well. Did you try? Madison asked, sitting down again many times, and she wouldn't listen. Beth and I came here from Cuba as teenagers. We lived with an aunt who died shortly after we arrived. Beth met Michael when we were still in high school. They became inseparable. Another long sigh. For a while, Michael took care of both of us. He paid the rent on our apartment, and even after Beth moved in with him, he still supported me. She paused for a moment before continuing. There was a time I loved him like a brother. I loved him because he loved Beth so much. But when he murdered her, she trailed off, tears filling her eyes. So, you do think he killed her? Madison said, hardly able to get the words out. Catherine laughed bitterly. I don't think anything, she said. I know he's guilty. He got off because he had a powerful attorney, paid for by his mafia boss. Oh, God, Madison said, her heart pounding. So it is true. I tried to take you away from him. He wouldn't let me. Michael had the power, the money, the lawyers. Me, I had nothing. Why? Madison demanded. Why did he do it? He thought she had taken a lover. It wasn't so. I don't believe it, Madison said sadly, reluctant to face the truth. It's the same story as Stella. Catherine shrugged. Michael is aware I know the truth about him. He could find me if he wanted to. When he was acquitted, I knew I was probably safe. There was no necessity for him to come after me, but just in case, I kept a loaded gun beside my bed. With some, my bedtime story, I put you to sleep. You're not supposed to put you to sleep. You're supposed to perk you up. I don't understand, Madison said, trying to hold back the tears that threatened to engulf her. Why didn't you want to see me? Catherine shook her head. It's too painful, darling, she said. Her voice softened. My sister was everything to me. You? I'm sorry, but you are somebody I don't know. You are Michael's daughter. No, I'm Beth's daughter, Madison said, her voice rising. And I'll only just found out all of this. Doesn't that mean anything to you? I know it should, Catherine said, her voice a flat monotone. However, I cannot bring back the memories that haunt me. How can you say that? I wish you luck, Madison, but Michael is your family. So you are saying you don't want anything to do with me? No, Catherine said. I'm saying that I can't allow Michael back into my life. And if I accept you, then Michael will follow. I know him. He is filled with enormous jealousy. If he thought you and I were close, his ego couldn't take it. I don't know what it is with him. When he possesses somebody, they have to be his all the way. He doesn't possess me, Madison said vehemently. I'm his daughter, but he's always left me free to do my own thing. He has allowed you to think that. I really am a journalist. I work for Manhattan Style. I know, Catherine said. I've followed your career. You have? Madison said, surprised. How did you know who I was? I have friends, Catherine said. They have kept me informed. I know you were raised thinking Stella was your mother. And when she was murdered, well, I expected you to come searching for the truth. I'm surprised Michael told you. It must be his punishment to Stella. Listen, Madison said. I'm only here for one night, but I'd love to come back and spend some time with you. No, Catherine said sharply. This is impossible for me. You must understand. I need to know more. Then you'll have to find it out elsewhere, Catherine said, standing up. I must go now. My guests are waiting. Please. That's so sad. He perk you up, Shala. Shala said the reading perk him up. Please, Madison, do not tell Michael we have spoken or where I am, because if you do, he will try to ruin everything I've worked for. I'd never do that. I wish you luck, Madison. That's it? She said disbelievingly. Catherine nodded, her dark eyes full of sorrow. I'm afraid that's all I can offer you. Oh my God, poor Madison. Angrily, Madison got up, left the room, and returned to her table. The first thing she noticed was that Kim was taking risks. My friend, oh, I don't know something have no sense. Thank you. Where did that come from? Shala, thank you, sir. Thank you, Shala. When some you see how me jump when me you see how you frighten me. You see how frighten me jump me like I want make that sound there. I appreciate you, my love. Thank you so much. Our heart me getting a win some. I the most love me ever get at 2 o'clock in the morning. Trust me. I appreciate it. Well, Andy. One little piece of finger quit yesterday bother me. But anyway, I could continue. The reading I get nicer and nicer. May I read a couple more chapters before we call it night. Shall you can't frighten me like that again. Okay? Let us continue because I want to get to. I want to get to the part where Rosarita and Joel up there give the people them a show. My Yes, Donald. Hold on there. I have to cover up myself. I have to, wait there. Hold on there. People, you remember say me not hear me daughter come out her room. You know hold on there. Because I left the chicken downstairs on the fire, you know. You know, don't forget. Remember, I left the chicken downstairs. Let me go look. Hold on there. I am back. Let's. Where we did they? Oh Lord, where were we? Over there, so we did they? Angrily. Utopia, what's up? Let's do this. Hold on. Let me spin this so. Alright. Wait. Hold on. Alright, that's better. Utopia, what's up? Alright, let us continue. Right, that's better. I have to fix up my contraptions. Let us continue, beautiful people. Angrily, Madison got up, left the room, and returned to her table. The first thing she noticed was that Kim was taking risks on the dance floor, locked in a close embrace with the black woman who had been coming on to her earlier. They look good together, huh? One said, sliding up next to her. Jealous? No way, Madison answered recklessly. Get me another margarita one. Then I want to dance with you. With me? He said, grinning confidently. Yeah, she said, fixing him with a look. You are it tonight, aren't you? He fetched her another drink and she tossed it back fast. Her head was spinning, spinning, spinning. This was all too much. She had found her mother's sister who did not want to be her friend, did not want anything to do with her, did not want to be found, and did not want to continue a relationship with her. So be it. She could take it. She could take anything that was dished out to her. And yet, she was enveloped in a cloak of sadness. What had happened to her perfect life? She grabbed one and hit the dance floor, soon finding out that he was an accomplished and sensual dancer. The last margarita had made her into a wonderful dancer too. For suddenly she was swaying and twirling to the beat of the music, all else forgotten. She remembered her last visit to Miami, the sexy male model, their passionate one night stand. That's what she wanted more than anything. Another one nighter. Another incredible night of hot, unforgettable sex. Okay. Dangerous sex. Dangerous anything. She had an unquenchable desire to get out of her body and into somebody else's. What time do you finish here? She murmured, clinging to one as he spun her around on the dance floor, making her even dizzier than she was before. Anytime I want. Miss Leon told me to make sure you are happy. She's pleased you are here. No, she's not, Madison said, holding back sudden tears. But it doesn't matter. Nothing matters anymore. She enjoyed your company, one insisted. Said you are an excellent journalist, and as long as you don't write her name, she's pleased to help. Help me? Madison said, laughing derisively. She didn't help me. You're the one who is helping me. And then they were kissing, their lips pressed hard together, her tongue exploring his mouth with a great deal of fiery passion. Let's get out of here, she gasped when they finally parted. What? What about your friend? They're not so fast, them. Hold up, they know. They're not so. It look like me a waste time. I so fast people jumping. All right, let me continue. Let us continue. Let's get out of here, she gasped when they finally parted. What about your friend? She glanced over at Kim on the dance floor, still entwined with the black woman. My friend will be perfectly fine, she said. Let's go before I change my mind. He put his arms around her, guided her towards the door. Are you sure? The hot salsa music and the effect of all the margaritas she had consumed swept over her. One was a conduit to forgetting everything, and he was right there beside her. Oh, yes, she murmured, I'm very sure. And everything was still spinning, 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 and she knew things would never be the same. Girl, you crazy. But let us continue. Joel wanted it all, the whole 9 yards. Me know all Joel for want 9 yards and Joel only have 2 inch. You never hear nothing like this? All Joel want 9 yards and Joel only have 2 inches. Let me continue. Joel wanted it all, the whole 9 yards, and Rosarita was so happy to see him, and so psyched by the knowledge of her pregnancy that she was prepared to go along with anything he suggested. With the lights blazing in the room and the blinds wide open, the hotel guests next door were certainly getting an eyeful. There was Rosarita in crotchless panties, posed on the bed, legs spread. There was Joel parading up and down in front of the window with a full erection. There were the two of them, going at it in front of the window. Joel got off on every show-off moment. This was his time in the sun. He was indulging in an activity his father could never top. Joel Blaine, exhibitionist. Joel Blaine, number one. Yeah, he liked his action a lot. Occasionally, he glanced at the digital clock beside the bed. Had to keep an eye on the time. It wouldn't do to keep Madame Sylvia waiting. I've missed you, Joel, Rosarita managed to gasp as he thrusted in and out of her. Have you missed me, darling? Blame it on the tequila. Blame it on the tequila. Oh my God. Have you missed me, darling? Sure have, baby. He lied, sweat beading on his upper lip as he exerted himself. Then how come you changed your phone number without telling me? What was it with women? What is it with women? Why did they have to fuck and talk at the same time? Couldn't they just shut the fuck up for once? He's something else. Why don't you quit with the small talk, honey, and concentrate, he muttered, changing positions. Here's what I'd like you to do. Yes, Joelle, she said obediently. Get down on all fours, he said. You're gonna do it. We're gonna do it doggy style. I wasn't supposed to read that out loud, but it came out. It came out. Okay with her. He was Joel Blaine, Leon Blaine's son. He was also the father of her unborn child, so she was prepared to cooperate all the way. Besides, doggy's style was a turn on. She tried to imagine her face when she gifted him with the good news about their baby. But first, she had to get rid of Dexter. Then, after a few weeks of mourning, she'd tell him. He grunted. She busted. Okay. He grunted, she busted. Getting together again was better than a day at the spa. By the time she left the hotel, she felt like she had experienced a vigorous workout, which in fact she had. She reminded herself to ask Dr. Shep if too much sex was bad for the baby. Perhaps she shouldn't be quite so adventurous. The hotel doorman hailed her a cab. She sat in the back seat, touching up her makeup. Sex with Joel was a trip. Sex with Dexter was not nearly as much fun. Either a guy had it or he didn't. Dexter didn't. And you would think that he would. What with all the experience he had had in the modeling world? Maybe he was secretly gay. He never got down and dirty the way Joel did. Yes, maybe Dexter had gay tendencies he hadn't faced up to. After all, he had been discovered by Mortimer Marcel, and nobody was gayer than Marcel. Oh, no, Marcel, Mortimer Marcel. Move from this one. Whatever, she didn't care. All she wanted was Dexter gone. As soon as Joel entered the bar, Madame Sylvia waved him over to the table. Lomina star. Madame Sylvia waved him over to her table. She was not at all what he had expected. He had imagined worldly sophistication. Instead, he was confronted by a short, dumpy woman with a heavy lined face. Hardly any makeup, reddish, thinning hair, and a complacent expression. She was wearing an ordinary musk green suit and unobtrusive marking earrings. She looked like a housewife from the suburbs, not a notorious madame. You are Madame Sylvia? He said, hardly able to conceal the surprise in his voice. Yes, she answered. What were you expecting? A glamour puss? Hadn't hadn't thought about it, he lied. You hardly look like you are in the madame business. That's the whole point, she said, cracking heartily. Not cracking, cackling heartily. Nobody would ever expect me to be, would they? I can hardly see me being hauled off for pandering. Unlike, who was that girl in California? Heidi Fleiss. You remember her? Oh, yes, she said, nodding knowingly. Well, you see, the smart ones like me and the late Madame Alex, one of the greats, never flaunt ourselves. We keep a discreet, low profile. That's nice to know. A smug smile. It pleases our clients. I'm sure it does. Sit down, Mr. Blaine, and tell me what can I do for you? It's like this, you see, he said, pulling up a chair and getting right to it. There's a woman I'm interested in, and I think she's interested in me too. But she has a little indiscretion that she's into playing out. Indiscretions are my specialty, Madame Sylvia said with a superior smirk. That's what I've heard, Joel said, clicking his fingers for a waiter and ordering a Dewars on the rocks. I want him so. I want him so shallow. Dewars on the rock. I don't know, say me a own body. Me don't know nothing about them something. The Dewars on the rock. Then maybe you had better tell me what it is, Madame Sylvia said. She, he glanced around the spacious room, making sure there was no one within earshot. Like some young. How young? Madame Sylvia said matter-of-factly. I won't go below 12. Not that young, he said. 15. 16 will do. Puerto Rican. Hot-looking. Kind of a junior Ricky Martin, if you will. Madame Sylvia repeated her knowing nod. It'll be expensive, she said. I can deal with that, Joel said, eyeballing a tall, thin blonde on her way to the bar. When do you require this? Gotta get back to you with the dates. I have to be sure you can supply the goods. I'll need 24 hours notice. I understand, he said as the waiter brought his drink. Do you want the price now? Madame Sylvia inquired. He took a couple of fast gulps of scotch. Of scotch. Makes no difference to me, he said, wondering why she would even bother to ask. Oh, yes, I forgot, Madame Sylvia said. Can't scare a rich kid. Isn't that right? Joel laughed and took another mouthful of scotch. So tell me, he said, warming up to this dumpy woman. Who are some of your clients? Madame Sylvia smiled mysteriously. Wouldn't you like to know? She said. And wouldn't you be surprised if you did? Truth is, I'd never heard of you till Testia filled me in, Joel said. Had no idea this kind of service existed for women. Why shouldn't it? There are respectable women in this town married to very powerful and hard-working men. Men who simply have no time for them. And there are certain things the husbands refuse to do for their wives sexually. So the wives use my services to satisfy their needs. I saw no going out there. I saw them going win some. Doesn't that make them what, Mr. Blaine? Madame Sylvia interrupted. Whores. Whores, he said, before he could stop himself. No. It makes them female Johns. Tie away and die your bed. It makes them female Johns, she said, with a tight little smile. I'm sure you find nothing wrong with male Johns, do you? That's different. Not at all, it isn't. Women desire the same amenities as men, and I make sure they get them. So your service is for women only. Another mysterious smile. Yes, and believe me, Mr. Blaine, I am very much in demand. All right, Shalom, I hear you. I wish you wouldn't do that, Charles grumbled, glaring at Varumba, who was beginning to annoy him. What? She asked innocently. Cut your freaking toenails in the bedroom. Something's wrong with my toenails? It ain't a very ladylike thing to do. Oh, crap, she snapped, fed up with his constant criticism. You have not got me living with you 'cause I'm ladylike, Chaz. No, he agreed. But if you do something that pisses me off, I gotta tell you, right? What pisses you off about me cutting my toenails? For Christ's sakes, she said, waving her foot at him. He could see he was getting nowhere with this argument. Do it in the bathroom, he said gruffly. That's an order. Huh? She said, jumping off the bed, her huge breasts shaking with indignation. Any other orders you'd like me to take care of today? Such as a fucking... Ah, I don't know what follow that. Such as da 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 da, you're a big fat da 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 da. Okay. His eyebrows shot up in surprise at her rudeness. What did you say? You heard me, she answered insolently. It occurred to him that this relationship might not be working out. Varumba was getting on his nerves, and even though he appreciated her incredible assets, enough was just fucking enough. Where's the shall I say if you read what up on the page? Jonathan. Shall I say I must say it, must read what up on the page. All right, sir. All right, sir. I'll remember that going forward. So if you read what up on the page. How to get rid of her, that was the problem. Unfortunately, there was always the problem, especially with this one, as he had persuaded her to give up her job and move out of her apartment. Some dumb mistake that was. Now he was stuck with her, and that wasn't good. But he had a plan. Chaz always had a plan. Vegas was coming up. She had asked him the other night if he was taking her, and he had said yes. She had been excited because, as she had informed him, her grandmother lived there. Bingo! They'd go to Vegas, and while they were away, he'd have his housekeeper pack up her things and transfer them to a rented apartment. By the time they got back, she'd be moved out. He'd buy her a mink coat, hand her a few $1,000s in cash, take some of her rent, take care of her rent for 3 months, and it would be goodbye Varumba. Nobody could ever accuse Chaz Vincent of not being a sport. You gone back, gonna sleep with some? All right, later. On the other hand, you know something I want to sleep. Them hours a night, yeah, my time to be. See that 2 o'clock in the night? In my day at work, me up bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. So, at my time of night this. On the other hand, if Varumba wasn't around, he'd have to find himself another woman because he couldn't take being alone. Constant silence drove him nuts. Besides, he slept badly when there wasn't a warm body lying next to him, and he had a thing about tits. Big, warm, comforting tits. Why couldn't he find a woman who behaved herself and didn't get aggravating? Why couldn't he find a girl who was more like his daughter, Venice? Now Venice was a peach, whereas all he ended up with was some sour plums. It occurred to him that maybe he was looking in all the wrong places. It might be a good idea to broaden his horizons, move out of the bars and strip clubs and get into the real world. No, he thought glumly. In his experience, real world women weren't any better. And even more importantly, they didn't have the tits to get a man really hot. Don't you hear them, Libertia? When Rosarita arrived home, Dexter was on his way out. Now it was her turn to question him. "Where are you off to?" she asked. "Got a call from Silver Anderson," he said. "She says she has to see me." "Silver Anderson?" Rosarita said. "What does that big old bag want?" She mentioned something about a script. Not another one of those dreary soaps, I hope," Rosarita said, trying to conceal a satisfied yawn. "Who knows?" Dexter said. "It's worth finding out." "Well, try not to be long, 'cause I'm starving." "Everything okay with Chaz?" "Who?" "Your dad." Oh, yes," she said quickly, remembering her excuse. "Everything's fine. You look flushed. I hate riding in cabs. All those stupid foreigners drive like maniacs. They should send every one of them back to where they came from." Wanna hear this shit here? So when I read in January of 2025? And this book was written 25 years ago? For God's sake, it's not nice to say things like that. She threw him a look. Dexter was such a tight ass. He couldn't wait. She couldn't wait to never have to see him again. I'll be back soon, he said. Get into bed, rest, and look after yourself. I plan to, Rosarita said, wishing he'd leave already. I plan to look after myself all the way. A Filipino houseman came to the door of Silver's apartment and ushered Dexter in. Follow me, please, the man said, leading Dexter into a large living room where Silver lolled on a brocade-covered chaise lounge. She was clad in a pale peach negligee trimmed with dyed to match fox fur. On her feet were high heeled silver mules. Dexter's stomach dropped. It was definitely an out to seduce outfit, and he had no intentions of allowing himself to be seduced again, especially as somewhere in the future he was going to become a daddy. Hi, Silver, he said, hovering in the doorway. Dexter, darling, do come in and sit down, she said, waving a languid arm in his direction. He had never visited her apartment before. He entered the living room tentatively and glanced around, noting it was quite luxurious in the diva style. There were enormous white couches, leopard throws, and a great many ornate silver frames with pictures of Silver cozying up to various celebrities, not to mention a president or two. He couldn't help being impressed as he settled down on the vast couch opposite her to say, Drink, she offered. I'll pass, he said. How about a glass of champagne to celebrate? To celebrate what? She picked up a bound script from the marble coffee table and tossed it over to him. Our new project, darling, she drawled. Forget about agents and managers. I'm the one who will make you a star. I'm the one to whom you're going to be very grateful indeed. And he believed her. Why shouldn't he? No, hold on there. No, hold on there. No, hold on, let me continue. The book getting sweeter and sweeter, and at time now I should not arrest myself, but the book I get sweeter and sweeter. Chapter 33. Madison and Kim were sitting side by side on the plane, but there was no talking going on. Madison had a hangover from hell. Everything hurt, especially her head. She gazed out of the window as the plane prepared for takeoff. God, what a way to handle things. Getting drunk and laid. Big answer. Very smart. She was mad at herself, and Kim was mad at her because she hadn't gotten back to the hotel until 6 a.m. Did it ever occur to you that I might be worried out of my mind about you? Kim had said. Sorry, she had mumbled, heading straight for the shower. Standing in the shower for almost an hour, letting the cold water bring her back to reality. She had thought about everything going on in her life, and it wasn't pleasant. Anyway, she had said, when she had finally emerged, I was under the impression you were too busy having fun. I was, Kim admitted. Not a one-night stand, just fun. Okay, Madison had said. No lectures. I know what I did. I fucked up. I had an opportunity to convince my aunt we could mean something to each other, and I blew it. I sat in a I sat in her office in a drunken haze, listening to everything she had to say and hardly reacting at all. Then I ran off with Juan and indulged in a night of mindless sex. Good move, huh? Kim had shaken her head disapprovingly. Hey, listen, I've got this theory, Madison had said. Sometimes a person has to blast stuff Otherwise, they'll explode. Well, I blasted off. Now I can go home and attempt to cope with things. Kim had nodded, non-committal to the end. If that's your way of handling it, then so be it. Now they sat on the plane in silence, sipping a tomato juice. Madison decided that she would do what she would do when she got back. Concentrate on her career, that was for sure. She'd leave Michael on a back burner for now because there was no way she could deal with seeing him. He was a liar and a fraud, and maybe even a killer. Michael, her father, her daddy, the betrayer. She shuddered. She shuddered at the thought of what he might be. Once the plane was in the air, she fell asleep, awaking shortly before landing. I suppose this concludes our business together, Kim said, busily tightening her seatbelt. It's been an interesting experience. It certainly has, Madison replied, and I want you to know that I appreciate everything you have done. Do you now? Kim said. Maybe you'd be happier if I hadn't found out some things I did. No, Madison shook her head. I'm one of those people who prefer to know everything, and now I do. She took a sip of her tomato juice. And thanks for coming to Miami with me. I couldn't have done it without you. Wish I could have been more help, she said. Like how? Madison asked. Stopped me from making a fool of myself? You didn't make a fool of yourself, Kim said, sensible as ever. You slept with a very attractive man. It's understandable. Young's the operative word. Yeah, young is the operative word there. Madison responded ruefully. But what the heck? I'm free to do what I please. Big fucking deal, man. Easy enough to say, she thought. Inside, she was cringing. A one night stand with a fucking baby? How humiliating. She hadn't wanted it to be that way, but she had had no one else to hang on to. If only Jake had been in her corner, things might have been different. But no, Jake was exactly like all the rest. He had proved that she was nothing more than a sexual interlude to him, and it hurt. How foolish of her to have imagined it was more. She had no desire to see Jake again. Therefore, she had to call Victor and tell him to assign another photographer for the Vegas gig. Jake was yesterday's news, and the last thing she wanted was to work with him again. Well, she said, turning to Kim, whom she had noticed was a white knuckle flyer. Do you at least enjoy yourself a little bit? Well, I relaxed, Kim said, and I got a new outfit. You look like you were having fun. I saw you on the dance floor. There's something very energizing about that place, Kim said with a glimmer of a smile. I got caught up in the moment. Tell me about it, Madison said wryly. Outside the airport, they hailed a cab and shared it into the city. The driver, a talkative Armenian, dropped Madison off first. Standing on the curb in front of her building, she suggested to Kim that they got together for lunch before she left for Vegas. Call me, Kim said, raising the window as the cab took off. But they both knew she probably wouldn't. This was a phase of her life she was anxious. Sorry, a little piece of finger quitter they annoy me all night. Now me finally nip him in the bud. Okay, let us continue. Standing on the curb in front of her building, she suggested to Kim that they got together for lunch before she left for Vegas. Call me, Kim said, raising the window as the cab took off. But they both knew she probably wouldn't. This was a phase of her life she was anxious to forget, and Kim would always be a painful reminder. Slammer, Slammer, you remember Slammer? Slammer was her dog. Slammer, fed up with her absences, went totally berserk when she saw her, barking and drooling with excitement. I'm not very fair to you, am I? She said, collapsing on the floor next to him and rubbing his stomach. I dump on you all the time, don't I? No nice long walks. I'm always miserable. But it's going to change, I promise. Things are definitely returning to normal. Slammer barked as if he understood. He probably did. He was one smart dog. She jumped up and played back the messages on her answering machine. The usual suspects: David, who was obviously never giving up, Jamie, Victor, wanting to know how far she had progressed on her research, and Michael, damn him. Right now, she wanted nothing to do with him. Even speaking on him, even speaking to him would be an ordeal. She took her second shower of the day, her mind drifting back to the night before. Already it seemed as if South Beach was in another world, another time. Kim had said there was something about the atmosphere there, and she was right. Some kind of sexual buzz had taken over, rendering her helpless. After getting dressed, she headed for the office. Victor greeted her with exaggerated enthusiasm. Oh, my star reporter has decided to put in an appearance, he boomed. What an exciting occasion. I had business in Miami, she explained. Miami? His jaws quivered. Why would anyone go there? You should take your wife to South Beach, Victor, Madison said. It will loosen her up. Get the plug out of her ass. Victor's bushy eyebrows shot up. Excuse me? He said. Madison laughed. You heard me. It's a very laid-back place. Aha, Victor said. I can tell somebody got lucky. Lucky, unlucky, it doesn't matter, she murmured. Oh, and by the way, I'd like you to assign another photographer to the Vegas gig. Jake Sicker isn't right for the job. Too late, Victor said loudly. I've already hired him. Besides, his work is excellent. Damn, she muttered. Is there a problem? I was hoping you might break into your piggy bank and hire Annie Leibovitz. Oh, whenever Mr. The book here is so forward. Let me turn around here so no can see me. Annie Leibovitz. Her photographs are awesome. That would please Vanity Fair, he said dryly. She is theirs. I thought it would be a good change to work with a woman, she said, well aware that Victor was notorious for employing a mostly male staff, something she was always complaining about. Why? He said. Why not? She said, challenging him. You are so sexist, Victor. Lighten up. Me? Sexist? He said, quite offended. Okay, boss. Don't go getting your balls up in an uproar. You leave my balls alone. She grinned. That's a promise. By the way, Victor said, it's about time we started lining up your next victim. Now, I was thinking about Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis? He's an extremely underrated actor. And with the divorce thing behind him, and the fact that he's such a macho kind of man, not to mention one of the highest paid movie stars in the world, I'm sure people will be salivating to read your take on him. What's this thing you have about movie stars? Well, they generate heat and big newsstand sales. Give me another choice. Charlie Dollar. Trouble in Waiting. Nothing's wrong with trouble. Isn't that your forte? What you're trying to tell me is that you want another boring Hollywood cover. Exactly. Then how about Lucky Santangelo, Titan of Panther Studios? She'll be a real cool. Victor said enthusiastically. However, I understand she doesn't do publicity. Maybe I can persuade her. How? Well, woman to woman, she's an incredible character. She has done a lot of women, and I'm sure I could get to her. I'm vaguely friendly with Alex Woods, remember? He really did. Remember, he nearly did my call girl project, and I understand he's quite close to her. Send me out to the coast for a while, and I'll see what I can pull off. Do I sense you are anxious to get away from New York? I've had a lot of personal problems to deal with. I need a change. Oh, yes, Victor said. The death of your mother was a terrible tragedy. It's more than that, she said, thinking. If he only knew. Things I can't talk about now. Are you sure? Victor said, shooting her a penetrating stare. I have an extremely sympathetic ear. Someday, when I've gotten used to the situation, he looked concerned. Whatever it is, Madison, you know I'm always here for you. That's the one good thing, she said. I have discovered that I really do have wonderful, loyal friends. And so you should, Victor said pompously. A person gets the friends they deserve. And you, my dear, deserve only the best. What time of night now? 2:30. I don't want to sleep, so hold on there. Hold on there, I have to change up my things. I have to put that there, so. Because the phone here, I lose charge. So I have to put it up here, so. Mr. Boy, when people do content creative, we can have one whole heap of contraptions, you see. One whole heap of contraptions. What you say? Supermom. Supermom, where I do up this hours of the night, mom? Oh my goodness. Good morning, my love. Hold on there. Nobody come on my page, come judge me. Allow me now. Sure. Me do what I do. What I want to do, you know? What I want to do, when I want to do it. I don't know night and I don't know day. So if you know I watch and say, oh, a night no a day no, I need to know night nor day. I do whatever I want to do whenever I want to do it. You see me? Yeah. Let me continue reading this wonderful book. I'm not going to read it off tonight, maybe tomorrow. I read it off for Uno. I'm have to hurry up because I don't read the book already and I need to start one next book. Sure. But I owe it to you all. Madison left the office, hit Lexington, and immediately heard someone calling her name. She stopped for a moment and looked around. Running down the street towards her was Jake Sicker. Hey, hey, he yelled, reaching her side. I thought it was you. Well, 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 she said, cool as ice. The traveling photographer. Hello, stranger. Stranger? He looked up at her quizzically. 2 weeks and I'm a stranger? Did you have a good time in Paris? She asked, still on the icy side. I guess you must have, because I sure as hell didn't hear from you. You didn't hear from me because I hate those damn answering machines. So you are telling me you phoned and failed to leave a message? Nope, he said, rubbing his hands together. I didn't phone because I know your answering machine's always on. I figured I'd see you when I got back. Really? Right now I'm on my way to visit Victor. How about you? Well, I just left him. Wanna come with me and surprise him? The surprise will be on you, she thought. If Victor has the balls, He'll cancel you off the Vegas job, and it'll be goodbye, Jake. No thanks, she said, faking a bored expression. You look tired, he said. Everything's okay? Screw you, Jake Sicker. I am not tired. I am hungover. Plus, I have a sex hangover too, because the sex I had last night was amazing, better than the sex we have had, and you have no idea what I've been through since you left. So, fuck you. That's what she said. So, fuck you. Oh my God. I only got back from Miami this morning, she said, trying not to sound too uptight. I was covering a few of the clubs in South Beach. Up all night, you know how it is. Miami, huh? He said. You must have had a good time. Naturally, she said. Wouldn't waste it. He leaned in a little closer. Are you sure everything's all right? You keep on asking me that, she said, backing away. I'm fine. I understand. We are covering the fight in Vegas tonight. We are? She said, as if it was the first time she was hearing it. Victor mentioned you. You requested me. Thanks. I don't want to work with you, Jake. I don't want to sleep with you again either. You are exactly like all the rest. You'll have to excuse me, she said, pointedly glancing at her watch. I've got an appointment and I can't be late. Work first. Everything else comes second. Can I see you tonight? Was he dense or what? Let me ask you one question, she said, unable to hold back her anger any longer. Do you want to see me because you happened to run into me? Or were you planning on calling me later? Oh, I get it, he said, nodding knowingly. You are pissed, aren't you? Why would I be pissed? She said quickly. Oh, yeah, you are pissed, all right. No, I'm not, she said, hating him for having any kind of effect on her. Yes, you are. Okay, she admitted, fed up with playing games. Maybe I am. We were together for a week at a perfectly great time. Then you took off to Paris, and not another word until I bumped into you a few minutes ago. Tell me, Jake, why the hell shouldn't I be pissed? You could have called me, he said, infuriating her even more. I could have. Only one minor problem. You didn't give me your phone number or tell me where you were staying. Yeah, he admitted sheepishly. That would be a problem. So, you will excuse me, won't you? She said icily. I am pissed, and I do not wish to discuss it. Without waiting for her reply, she took Without waiting for his reply, she took off, striding down the street without looking back. Just another selfish jerk with bedroom eyes and a great body. Who the hell did he think he was? Screw him. She stopped at the nearest coffee shop, went straight to the payphone in the back, and called Jamie. I'm here, she announced, and ready to talk. Thank God for that, Jamie exclaimed. I can't keep up with you anymore. Guess who I bumped into on the street? Who? Jake, she said. Can you believe it? And the son of a bitch, acted as though nothing happened. What do you mean? You know what I mean. The prick doesn't call me after spending a week at my apartment. What does he expect? That I'll jump into his arms? I don't think so. I don't fucking think so because I fucking hate him. You need a therapy session, Jamie said calmly. Oh, Christ. If one more person tells me I need a shrink, I'll go totally stone cold crazy. I'm not saying you need a shrink. What I'm saying is you need a therapy session with me. Bullshit. No, talking it talking it out helps. Are you free for lunch? Yes. Then let's meet. If you insist, then I will. Well, I do. Okay. Where? Somewhere where we can talk. They met for lunch in the refurbished Russian tea room and over borscht, blinis, I don't know if I saw them pronounce them, but that's how I pronounce them. Over borscht, blinis, and several white Russians, Madison let it all out. Jamie listened sympathetically, interjecting only when it was absolutely necessary. If there were a plot for a movie, she said, when Madison had finished her long story, I wouldn't believe it. I know, Madison agreed. I'm still in shock myself. That's why I got drunk last night and got laid. Was he any good? Jamie asked slyly. What do you think? Madison said, sipping her drink. He was 19 years old, for Christ's sake. I felt like an old lady ravishing a young boy's body. What is not this? Well, you know what they say. Guys are at their hottest when they are 19. Trust me, Madison said, grinning. It's true. Jamie laughed softly. I'll have to give that a try one day. That will go down well with Peter. By the way, how are things? They're actually great, Jamie said slowly, although something did happen. What? Remember what your detective lady told you to have me do? Yes, I did it. I looked in his wallet and found a condom. No shit. Maybe it's a male thing, like a clicker. You know, they don't feel safe unless they have got a clicker in one hand and a condom in their wallet. Not that he'd ever use it. So you marked it? I felt stupid, but yes, I did. And? And nothing. Everything's been so good that I haven't had a chance to look. And anyway, checking out his wallet makes me feel like a sneak. You didn't feel sneaky when you thought he was cheating on you, did you? Madison pointed out, in a decidedly better mood after two white Russians and a dish of blinis. Jamie brushed a delicate hand through her short blonde hair. I don't want to look, she said. Could that be because you are frightened of what you'll find out? No, Jamie said stubbornly. Then do it. Okay, I will, Jamie said with a big sigh. I'll take a peek as soon as he goes to sleep tonight. What else has been happening? Madison asked. Have I missed something? Anton had another party. Was Chris Phoenix there? No. Disappointed, huh? No, Jamie said, giggling softly. You wouldn't have done anything with him anyway. I would if I'd caught Peter. Maybe you will catch Peter, so then Chris Phoenix can be number one on your hit list. You know, Maddie, Jamie said sternly, you are not a good influence, you know. Agreed, I'm not. I'm angry and wired up, and all I want to do is scream. I feel like I had a family, you know, a mother and a father. Then it all turned to shit before my eyes. And on top of that, there's a strong possibility that Michael, the man I've looked up to all my life, is some kind of Christ. I can barely say it. What? Some kind of what? Killer, murderer, hitman. Who the fuck knows? It's insane. I wish I could do something, Jamie murmured. A wise woman advised me how to handle it, Madison said. I have to let go and regard this as just another story. I have to be strong and make my own way. You always were a bit of a loner, Jamie remarked. I remember college vacations. We never went to your house. You always came to stay with my family, or we'd go to Natalie's. I can only recall meeting Stella twice. And your father at graduation, well, It was almost like he didn't want to be there. He kind of sat in the auditorium, all stiff backed, while Stella was glammed to the max, and every boy in the place was busy eyeballing her tits. Neither of them seemed very parent like. They didn't take photos or give you flowers, none of that. You have forgotten, haven't you? I've blocked it, I guess. Madison said sadly. Big surprise. The funny thing is, I still love Michael, she said wistfully, but that doesn't mean I have to like him. What will you do now? Jamie said. Tell him you know all about his stuff. Maybe one day. Right now, I'm into researching my next interview. I'll go to Vegas, write a hell of a story, then perhaps I'll stay in LA for a while. I have to get my head together before I confront him. That sounds like a plan. I'm also thinking of going back to Miami and talking to Catherine. If she sat down with me once, that means she will talk to me again. And this time, I'll make sure I'm sober and together. Oh, yes. And this time, I'm not planning on getting laid by some juvenile stud. The sole purpose of my trip will be to find out more about my unknown past. They left the restaurant and, by mutual agreement, strolled down the Bergdorf's, where they did some therapeutic shopping. Madison bought a sleeveless cashmere turtleneck sweater and a pair of dense black Dolce & Gabbana sunglasses. After all, she said, smiling ruefully, I am going to Vegas. Got to look the part. Jamie nodded. She was frustrated that there was nothing she could do for her friend to make her feel good again. If only Peter would relent and agree to go to Vegas. But she knew he wouldn't. They parted outside the store, and Madison flagged down a cab. Come by for dinner later, Jamie suggested. We'll send out for Chinese and rent a video. Thanks for the offer, but no, Madison said, climbing into the taxi. I'm a recovering alcoholic from last night. For somebody who usually doesn't drink, believe me, I put away plenty. Besides, I have a date with my computer, and I promised my dog I'll stay home. Your dog, Jamie said, raising an eyebrow. That's right. He's not even yours. He is by adoption. Okay, crazy girl. We'll talk tomorrow. It's a deal. Kaysen, the party done? The party done? I come over there and see Alexa wind up herself and all these things. I know I drop some nice music and something. Yeah, but this thing I know I go on with myself. I saw y'all. All right, let me see what time of night now. Almost 3 o'clock. So we have some more hours. We got 15 minutes to go. Yeah, 15 minutes to go. I'm not going to keep on too late, even though I'm not sleepy. But it would be good if me get some sleep, even though I'm not going to drop asleep. But anyway, we will read at least for the next few minutes. You get me? Yeah. Rosarita didn't tell Chaz. Martha Cochranger did. She had the balls to call Chaz from wherever it was in the boondocks that she lived and inform him that his own daughter was pregnant. Chaz got on the phone to Rosarita immediately. Why the hell didn't you tell me? He exploded. What the frig is this? I gotta hear it from some old woman I barely know? What do you mean, barely know? Rosarita said, outraged that he had found out before she had a chance to tell him. Martha Cochranger looks at you like she's discovered the second coming of George Clooney. Chaz, calm down. Can I help if I got pregnant? If I got that effect on Broads? Daddy, stop it, Rosarita said bad-temperedly. Her father always had been a conceited son of a bitch, and as he grew older, his ego seemed to be getting bigger than ever. So, Chaz said, you are knocked up, kiddo. You got a bun in the box. You'll make things right between you and Dexter now, right? No, it won't, she thought grimly. But then again, I'd better play it cool. After all, Chaz knows my original plan, and since he isn't prepared to cooperate, I can't let him in on what I'm about to do next. Let it all come as one big surprise. Yeah, giving Venice the good news, he inquired. I wasn't planning on making a public announcement, she answered testily. I don't want anybody knowing until we get back from Vegas. Why is that? Chaz demanded. Because my doctors insisted I should take it easy and keep it to myself. In case you are unaware, the first few weeks of pregnancy are an extremely delicate time. Her voice rose. Call that cockranger bitch and warn her to shut her big fat mouth. Too late for that, Chaz wheezed, indulging in a short coughing fit. You better talk to your old man. Fine, Rosarita said, happy to place the blame on Dexter. It's all his fault. Where was her soon to be deceased husband anyway? She hadn't seen him, which could be because she was still in bed and had no intentions of getting up any time soon. She was allowed to pamper herself, wasn't she? After saying goodbye to Charles, she buzzed Conchita. Is Mr. Fallon around? She asked when Conchita entered the bedroom. Out jogging, miss, Conchita had said, diligently straightening the drapes. Tell him when he comes in that I'd like to see him, and bring me some toast, and I think I'll have some hot chocolate today. Ah, very good for the baby, Conchita said with a knowing smirk. Excuse me? Rosarita said haughtily. What do you mean, the baby? Madame is pregnant. How do you know? Mister told me. Oh, God! She was going to ream Dexter's ass when he came home, his big, dumb soap opera ass. How had she even gotten stuck with this jerk? He honestly thought it was his baby she was carrying, and now the idiot was announcing it to everyone who would listen. No fucking way. She was carrying Joel Blaine's baby, and one day she'd be free to tell the world. You know, she's a real bitch. She's a real devil, you know. Yes, she is a real little devil. But let us continue. We are reading until 3 o'clock. Okay? Anyway, Marga at 3, and I said they're going to pop off. Okay? Dexter did double duty on his jogging time. Now that he didn't have to report to the studio every morning, he could concentrate on other things, such as health and fitness. His physical appearance was number one on his list, as it had been forever. After all, the way he looked was his biggest asset. Matt had developed a large gut, and Dexter considered it disgusting. He would never allow himself to go to seed the way his dad had. He hoped it didn't run in the family. He'd sooner kill himself than look like that. He thought about Silva and her script. She had announced that she would make him a star. He wished he had $1 for every time someone told him that. Not quite believing her, he had taken her script and hurried home to his pregnant wife. What did the old witch want? Rosarita had asked. Nothing important, he had said, and later, when Rosarita was in bed drooling over Don Johnson in Nash Bridges on TV, he had gone into the living room, settled into a comfortable armchair, and read Silver's script in one sitting. It was pure genius. It had everything: love, sex, violence, tragedy, and at the core of it all, a passionate love triangle involving a man and 2 women. Silver was right. The role of Lance Rich was a star marker. Dexter wanted it. He was so excited that he had immediately decided to phone Silver and ask her what the deal was. Did she own it? Was she planning on producing it? Was it a movie or a TV deal? So many questions. But by the time he had finished reading and was ready to ask, he realized that it was too late to call her. He had rushed into the bedroom to share his excitement with Rosarita, only to find her snoring loudly, the TV still playing. Now it was morning and he was out jogging, pounding, pounding his way through Central Park, sweating profusely, fired up with enthusiasm. He couldn't wait to get home and call Silver. She must think he was right for the script. Otherwise, she wouldn't have given it to him to read. But he had to know the deal. Did she have the power to give him the role? That was the burning question. No point in calling his agent yet. He'd have to wait and see. Yes, slow and easy. That was definitely the way to play it. Meanwhile, back at the apartment, Rosarita kicked the duvet off the bed and lay there staring at the ceiling, fondly remembering her previous day's tryst with the oversexed Mr. Blaine. God, he was a horn dog. He knew how to do it to her like no other man ever had. While she was being serviced by Joel in front of the window in a suite at the Four Seasons, she could have sworn she had spotted a group of people gathered in one of the rooms across the way. Of course they would gather, wouldn't they? She and Joel put on a show like no other. The truth was, they were perfectly matched. Oh, yes, she knew that when they weren't together, he dated supermodels and actresses. She had read all about him in the gossip columns. But what did that matter when she had met her soulmate, and she was his soulmate? No doubt about it. And you see that woman there crazy? Conchita brought her hot chocolate and dry toast on a tray. Couldn't you have put jam on it? She complained, sitting up, a frown on her face. Too much sugar not good for the baby, madame. When I want your opinion, I'll ask for it, Rosarita snapped. Conchita muttered something rude in Spanish under her breath and marched from the room. Shortly after that little exchange, Dexter returned home. Rosarita had to admit that he looked ruggedly and handsome in his red tracksuit and Nike running shoes. Too bad he was such a loser. Morning, he said, a great big smile plastered all across his face. Hi, Dexter, she answered. He bent over to kiss her. Don't, she said, turning her cheek. You're all sweaty. Go take a shower. He was dying to share his news about the script, but he decided to shower first and tell her afterwards. He stood in the shower, singing loudly as he soaped his body. He was happy. Why shouldn't he be? Finally he emerged from the bathroom, a towel knotted loosely across his narrow waist and a big wide grin on his face. What are you so cheerful about? Rosarita inquired, biting into a slice of unappetizing dry toast. I'm going to be a daddy, aren't I? He said excitingly. It's the greatest news I can think of. So intent had she been on reliving her sexual encounter with Joel that for a moment she had forgotten about the baby growing in her stomach. Oh, yes, she said, with a distinct lack of enthusiasm. I have to talk to you about that. You do? For God's sake, she said irritably, don't go telling the world. Well, I told my mom, he said, surprised she didn't want it shouted from the top of the Empire State Building. Is that so terrible? You told Martha, she told Chaz, and he's fucking furious. Why is that? Dexter asked, sensing big trouble ahead. Shouldn't I be the one to tell him? I was under the impression this was my exciting news. Ours, he said quietly. Ignoring his comment, she pushed her tray away and said, Go phone Martha right now and tell her to shut the fuck up. Tell her to shut her stupid fat mouth up and not tell anybody my business. Oh, damn. She mad as hell. She is mad as hell. Don't talk about my mom like that, he said indignantly. Then stop her from broadcasting the news of my pregnancy as if it's hers to broadcast. If you really feel so strongly. And another thing, she interrupted, not prepared to listen to his lame excuses. What? How does Conchita know? She should know. Conchita's the one who will be looking after you. Oh, for God's sakes, Dexter, she yelled. Get it into your head. I am not an invalid. Nobody has to look after me. And certainly not my maid. An angry glare. How dare you reveal my personal secrets to the maid? Rosarita, darling, it's no secret, he said, attempting to calm her down. It's something we should be proud of. I'm so excited. And on top of everything else, Silver's script is the real deal. It's sensational. And she wants me to be in the movie. What script? You didn't mention a script. Silver gave me a script to read. And, well, he said, managing to look modest. She assures me it's the part that'll make me a star. Rosarita laughed derisively. How many times have we heard that? She said in her best put-down voice. Exactly what I thought, he said, but this script is dynamite. Oh, yes, Rosarita thought, like Dexter would know a dynamite script if it fell in his lap. Is it for a theatrical movie? Or a movie of the week TV crap thing? I have to call Silver and find out, and I'm contemplating whether I should contact my agent and fill her in. Of course you should. Let's see if she knows what she's doing. Anyway, she should be the one to call dear old Silver. And remember, you are not working for nothing. You had better get that into your head and your agent's head. AG! AG, allow me now. You see the good thing is, while me up in my bed I read, me not disturb a soul. Me not disturb nobody. There's nobody for say, Lord Trev, I make up noise on my head. Trev tapping eyes and make me get for sleep now. Me not have them problem there, no, my friend. Me not have them problem there. AG, leave me alone. Okay? A woman, me name, so me born lucky. I'll hear up. I mean, if you sing that song, the for me get from man a pitney. But anywho, that wasn't where we were. That's not where we were. Allow me, AG. Allow me. I don't want no man. I don't want nobody. Me perfectly fine. When I see how my life peaceful and happy. AG said, I'll ride me. AG, allow me now. No, I'll not ride me. Allow me. Allow me. All right. May I live my life happily and comfortably. Me not worry about nobody. And nobody not worry about me. Let me read the book in peace now, AG. Look about this disturb me 3 o'clock in the morning. Shit. Ciao. Mm. Wait, let me see. Silver and I haven't discussed business, Dexter said. She only gave me the script last night. Fine, Rosarita said, losing interest. Go call your mother before she does any more damage. Let me put on some clothes first. While Dexter was in the bathroom getting dressed, Venice called. I'm so happy for you and Dexter, she thrilled. It's such a special time for both of you. Rosarita prickled with indignation. How dare Charles tell Venice, especially when she had warned him not to? I suppose Daddy told you, she said, making a half-hearted attempt to be nice. No, Dexter's mom contacted me. Isn't that sweet of her? Sweet? Sweet? What bullshit! Very sweet, Rosarita said, almost choking on the words, her eyes narrowing with fury. Enough was fucking enough. Dexter, she screamed, slamming down the phone. Get in here before I go mad. Your mother is about to drive me fucking crazy. Silver Anderson was busy putting on her face when Dexter phoned. Good morning, dear boy, she said, balancing the phone in one hand as she continued to apply the dramatic black eyeliner. And what can I do for you? You can tell me more about that script, he said. It's sensational. You like it, don't you? She said, sounding amused. What actor wouldn't? I rather thought you would, she said smugly. Does it belong to you? It was written by a young man who sent it to me through the mail. He thinks I'm the perfect star for his film. Then what's the deal? Dexter asked. I've, I've optioned the property, Silver said crisply, and I need an investor, a nice, rich person who will stay in the background and put up the money to make our movie. And by today's standards, it's comparatively low budget. $10 million should do it. And that quell surprise includes my fee. I'm having a detailed budget prepared even as we speak. You mean it will be a theatrical movie? AG, why you not sleep this hours in the morning? 3 o'clock? You should be sleeping. Naturally, I've had enough of boring television. Silver Anderson must be back on the big screen where she belongs. Do you have any investors in mind? I was hoping that you might be able to come up with someone. Me? He said, surprised and a little bit flattered. How about your wife's father? I understand he's quite well off. I don't know, Dexter stammered. He has never invested in anything I've heard of. There's always a first time, Silver drawled, and if he's of a certain age, I'm positive he has had a long life crush on me. How about bringing him to meet me so I can charm the money out of him? What you are saying? Dexter vented. Is that if I bring you someone who'd put up the money, then I get the role of Lance Rich? Oh, darling, you'll get the role anyway, she said offhandedly. You were perfect for it. I thought of you the moment I read it. A meaningful pause. Although, if we are forced to go to the studio, you'll probably insist upon a star. Naturally, I'll fight for you all the way, but you know how they are. Yes, Dexter said, immediately realizing the studios would want Brad Pitt or Ben Affleck. He had to do something radical to secure the role for himself. My other idea was, how about that divine man you used to work for? Remember when you had that billboard up in, where was it again? In Times Square? The one where you were posing in your tiny little briefs and looking rather naughty? I'm sure that's why they cast you in dark days. What was that designer's name? Mortimer Marcel. Mortimer Marcel. Marcel, right? Mortimer Marcel. Oh, yes. Mortimer. He must be very rich, and most likely he loves you. Arrange a meeting with him also. Dexter was getting the picture. Let me see what I can do, he said. I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Good boy, Silver purred. Good boy, like my dog. This is an opportunity neither of us can afford to let slip by. I know, Dexter said. Leave it to me. Leave me alone, you hear me? Yeah. Your island ride, yo, me can't help you. Anybody with an island ride, them, me can't help them. Me can't even help myself. So I don't know how to help you. Oh my word. Guys, this book is super duper. Love it. Love it. But see them, at 3 o'clock in the morning now, me not read no more. Me not read no more. I'm going on to bed. I'm going on to bed. Tomorrow I'm going to finish reading that book here, if you know. Yeah, I'm going to finish reading if you know. Come here, one next book for read. Yeah, so tomorrow we will read. Today, not tomorrow. Not tomorrow. Later today, Sunday. Later today, Sunday, we will read. We'll go back to reading chapter 35. We'll come back at chapter 35. Because I want to hear what Rosa Rita buying. I want to know what Rosa Rita is buying to try for her husband. Yeah. I want to know. I want to hear what she has to say. I want to hear what she has to say to Joel. Yeah. I'm interested in that. I want to know what's up with Madison. What's up with Madison and this sleeping, having these one night stands? I don't understand why she keep on do that. I don't understand why she keep doing that. That is not safe and that is not healthy. But there's something missing. There is something missing in her life that makes these one night stands seem so palatable for her. Something is wrong. She's a successful woman. I don't know what she finds so appealing about these one night stands. Yeah, she needs to behave herself and calm down. But to each his own. Everybody have their own life to live and their own burdens to bear. So they do what they see fit for them. But me anxious for hear. Me want to hear Rosa Rita. You know what me want to hear? Me want to hear Rosa Rita tell Joel that she's pregnant for him. And Joel run her. And tell her, how dare you? You know you can't be pregnant for me. I traps want to chat the man, you know. You know, hear the first thing she say? She'd have not think about money ever again in her life. If she have Joel baby. Because when Joel father croak, Joel is going to get all her father money. And then by her having the baby for Joel, all of that money, she would have hands on that money for the baby. You see a woman conniving? You see a woman conniving? And she have her husband in her yard, you know. Kim! Kim! Missy! Kim! Ah! Thank you, Kim! Kim! Story come to bump. Story come to bump, my love. Story me there to read. Story me there to read. The story nice, it nice. It nice. And people are rampy, cuss and screw and deceive each other and all of these things. That's going on in the story. Make it so nice. I'm anxious. I'm anxious to hear the rest of it. But I don't want to read no more tonight. At 3 o'clock in the morning now. I'm going to post. You know something I do not posting today? I'm not posting today, you know. You're not. Yeah, me don't read the story, my sister. You're not interrupt me. Don't read the story because me tell them say me need to read no more for tonight. To later on today, we will read some more. Because tonight we read from chapter 27, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. Yeah, so tomorrow no. Tomorrow no, we are going to read 35 to, but me still bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, you know, could I read some more. Yeah, me still bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, but yeah, 4 o'clock is usually my wake-up time, so in the next 52 minutes, my phone I got alarm and tell me say a time for wake up. But you know, so my sleep schedule, my sleep pattern is all the way off, so it is what it is. You get what I mean? You get me? Yeah. Yes, my love. So that's where we ending the reading tonight. What do you mean? Ty, where you in your bed? You say hours a night now. I didn't plan to read no more. I didn't plan to read no more. Not for tonight. We'll read the rest tomorrow. After I sleep and wake and sleep and wake some more. And sleep and wake some more. You get me? Yeah. That's how it is. But anyway, I'm gone. I'll see you all later, guys. It was an absolute pleasure being here with Uno and reading for Uno. I thank you all. Right, AG? I thank you all for coming in and listening. Those of you who tap the screen on the talk, I appreciate you. Those of you who hit the screen on the tube, I appreciate you all. AG, I will see you later, my love. So have yourself a great, great, great night. Great rest of the night. I'm going to go sleep. I'm see you later. Later, AG. Yeah, later. I'm see you later.